We're okay. We got it. Are all the lights on properly? Oh, hi. Welcome into the Rant. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every day, Monday through Friday, around about the noon o'clock hour, 12:15, somewhere in there. We do it live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios here in the beautiful E Gallery in Dallas's Design District. And this is a talk radio show, unlike one you're likely to hear anywhere else. I used to do talk radio. I've done talk radio since 1992, Groundhog's Day, 1992. That was day one. Oh, yeah. Chicago, Dallas. And then the industry just changed. And it seems like some of my opinions were no longer wanted because you're rocking the boat. And so there just isn't any place for people who want to have conversations in the way that I do. So the good folks at Radio Misfits and myself, we schemed a plan to create talk radio for normal people. And that's what this is. Every day, 3 years now. We're doing it every day. 3 years. That's a lot for like no pay, for love of the game bullshit. But, you know, this is what we do. When I say talk radio for normal people, what does that mean? Well, it just means that everything that I discuss is not going to be pre-filtered through a political partisan lens. Okay? I don't give a shit who you voted for. You shouldn't give a shit who I voted for. It all comes out in the wash. They count the numbers. Whoever gets the most wins, and we move forward. I'm tired of talk radio, conversation, discourse in general in this country between strangers having to rely entirely upon, well, you know, it's the Democrats or, you know, it's MAGA. I'm just so tired of that. And that's all talk radio is. So let's blame somebody. So now we get together here every day at noon and we talk about stupid shit. Like, look at this. I guess we already got to discuss the big breaking news that's occurring here in Dallas, Fort Worth, where we do the show. I mean, I'll get into it, but I didn't want to do it from the start of the show. Mike McCarthy, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, has been relieved of his duties. This is interesting news here, as last week, Mike McCarthy was the Chicago Bears, my Chicago Bears, they requested permission from Jerry to talk to Mike. Mike's his coach. And Bears said, we want to talk to him, Jerry. He doesn't have a contract. You know, he's a Super Bowl winning coach. He's a hot commodity. He doesn't have a contract. You're stringing him along. We'd like to talk to him. And then Jerry, after stringing the Bears along for 4 days, said, no. You can't talk to him. So that, of course, led everyone to believe that, well, Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones are probably close on an extension or some sort of a deal that would retain him as head coach of the Cowboys. And it needs to be done over the weekend because he's a free agent as of, I think, the 14th, midnight, tomorrow at midnight, so the 15th. As of January the 15th, Mike McCarthy doesn't need anyone's permission to talk to anybody about what his next paycheck is. So we all thought, because the Cowboys last week said, no, you can't talk to him. We thought Jerry had the best of intentions as far as re-signing him. And I don't mean best of intentions because I think everything Jerry does is ass backwards, and I think Mike McCarthy sucks. But here we are. Apparently that didn't go so well. So here we are, Monday morning, big Monday morning. Jerry's so great. Jerry's a marketing genius. I saw Landman last night. I caught up on the last 3 episodes of Paramount's Landman show with Billy Bob Thornton, John Hamm, and Demi Moore. Demi Moore, by the way. I watched the last 3 episodes. I binged the last 3 episodes of season 1, and Jerry Jones made an appearance. He's doing an acting role. He was actually pretty freaking good. Jerry Jones was good, man. I'm watching it all snarky. I'm like, Jerry Jones on Landman. Oh, look at this bullshit. And then he had me in tears. Anyway, point is this. Apparently the negotiations between Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy didn't go well. And as of this morning, Mike McCarthy has been relieved of his duties. That means the Dallas Cowboys are now in the hunt for a new head coach. Add the Cowboys to the list of people. So let's talk about, we'll get into this now. Why not? It's the hot breaking news here. And it's top of mind. I'd love to hear what you guys think. CC, Sports Bras, I know you got a take. I know Adam's got a take. I know Frank's probably got a take. Everybody's got a take. Here's what I think. Let me put it to you this way. Lever 1, there's like 3 levers that need to get pulled for my son's nightmare scenario to occur. My 15-year-old son splits his allegiances. between the Chicago Bears and the Dallas Cowboys. He loves both. He's got both in his blood. He's his nightmare scenario that he first floated to me about a week ago is that the Chicago Bears hire Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys hire Matt Nagy. Oh, I would just have to laugh. At that point, I would just have to laugh. All right. Yeah, don't kid yourself. Matt Nagy's about to be another one of those names at the top of hot offensive geniuses. And he's got 1 year of experience in Chicago. Bill Belichick sucked with the Browns. Trust me. The Chiefs win another Super Bowl, and the offensive coordinator, Matt Nagy's going to get another head coaching job, which, quite frankly, if I'm being fair, he deserves. Matt Nagy does. Matt Nagy might be good. He was coach of the year his first year. People forget that about Matt Nagy. Anyway, my son hates him. My son is very concerned that Matt Nagy is going to be hired by Jerry Jones. Why? Because Jerry ain't going to get Ben Johnson. Here's the problem. And God, this is why the Bears ain't going to get Ben Johnson either. And thank God I don't want Ben Johnson, the hot, highly touted offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. My reasons for not wanting Ben Johnson are different. Ben Johnson is not going to choose the Cowboys because of the very same reasons that we've been hearing about why Ben Johnson doesn't want to choose the Bears. And it's not that he does it. That's not written in stone. It's just that one of the concerns that Ben Johnson wants is that he wants to be paired with a general manager. His general manager, actually, it's an assistant general manager. He wants to take a head coaching job somewhere, and he wants the assistant general manager that he feels comfortable working with to go with him as that team's new general manager. The Chicago Bears aren't going to do that, and neither will the Dallas Cowboys. Wait, Jerry's going to hire or fire Steven to accommodate a rookie off. No, that ain't it. The $15 million or whatever that he's going to want as a first-time coach, that's fine. Jerry will pay that, but I just don't. I think it'll be someone like Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy will not have the list of demands that a Ben Johnson does. He won't. Matt Nagy's looking for a second chance. Matt Nagy needs to play the game. He can't be Ben Johnson, the prom queen, who gets to say, I will go to the place that offers me everything I want. That's Ben Johnson's position. So I don't know. I'm starting to see the rise of Matt Nagy's name being mentioned. It started as a joke in Chicago, where sports radio guys were like, there's this offensive coordinator in Kansas City who's about to win his second Super Bowl. He's gonna be in the mix. Fuckers talking about Todd Monken. You're not gonna talk about Matt Nagy? Okay, anyway. So McCarthy's gone. Where's McCarthy gonna go? God, I hope he doesn't go to the Bears. He will go somewhere. There's enough openings. He's a McCarthy has just moved up power rankings of who the most interesting head coach is available out there. So anyway, Jerry's in the game. So Sports Bras, CC, Sports Bras, by the way, Sports Bras on YouTube, Sports Bras on Facebook, Twitter, all that. The Sports Bras, really fun. Two dudes, two buddies. They're sports fans. They do know a lot about sports. So that's kind of a thing, but their delivery and all that, what I like so much about them is that they just come off like normal guys. Sports Bras know what they're talking about. What does CC say? He says, Ben Johnson is going to be my pick, but if I know Jerry, it will be two people, Jason Witten or Dion. Oh, right. Yeah. Jerry loves to lean into the stupid, and the stupid is almost always the emotional. And look, hey, I'm a Chicago Bear fan. We lean into the stupid / emotional all the time. The hot candidate in Chicago this morning as I woke up is Ron Rivera. Oh, my God. And why is that leaning into the stupid for Chicago? Because Ron Rivera was done 5 years ago. Okay, he's a defensive coach. We've got a quarterback. We need someone who's at least got some kind of, I want a guy with a background in offense, okay? And I know you're like, Pugs, you like Pete Carroll. He doesn't have a background in offense. Pete Carroll was a college quarterback who for the first 10 years of his coaching career was a quarterback's coach and an offensive coordinator. He switched over to defense because he was so good as an offensive coordinator. He knew the kind of thing. That's Pete Carroll is everything. So don't I know. Well, his last gig was as a defensive coordinator with the Browns in 91. Shut up. Shut up. Different time. Pete Carroll came about in the age where coaches had to know a little bit of everything. Now you got these specialists. All right, so my power rankings. Who is my power ranking? Ben Johnson is number one. Ben Johnson is the number one. He's the shiny new toy. He's the hot virgin, right? And he's perfect for a team like Ben Johnson is perfect for a team like Jacksonville. That's where I think Ben Johnson should go. Why? Because the Jacksonville media market isn't Chicago, Dallas, or New York, okay? You're a first-time genius. Oh, the genius is here. You're a first-time genius. In a market like New York, Dallas, or Chicago, the first time the genius runs into a losing skid, the media will destroy him, especially New York and Chicago. Those are shark-infested waters for sports media. Not in Jacksonville. Jacksonville's going to love him. He's going to he'll do a car dealership opening and 10,000 people will show up. He'll be a god down there. Ben Johnson goes there. Pete Carroll. Let's talk about Pete Carroll. I want Pete Carroll with the Chicago Bears, but I really think that Pete Carroll's going to end up with the Las Vegas Raiders. I do. For some reason, I think Pete Carroll's going to be the guy there. I think Brady's got a lot of respect for him. I was reading something the other day about Tom Brady going on and on about Pete Carroll and Pete Carroll's availability, and not saying that he wants him because that'd be kind of dangerous. But it was some things Tom Brady said about Pete Carroll, and I'm like, oh, I bet you Brady's going to influence that decision there. So okay, and it's close, still West Coast, Vegas. Pete's fun. All right, who else we got there? Who else is in there? Brian Flores, Minnesota Vikings. I don't know where he's going to go. But let's talk about the Cowboys. So who do the Cowboys want? Frank Smith. Frank Smith says the Bears and Cowboys are run by duddards in the football operations. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that. I agree with that with the Cowboys. I don't agree with that with the Bears. I think Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles are still guys that I can have a little bit of faith in until proven wrong. We'll see. It's a work in progress, but I'm not checked out on our new football management that is entirely divorced from the Hallis McCaskey family, which is good because we've needed the Hallis McCaskey family out of there. Sports Bros says Cliff Kingsbury can be on that list too. Cliff Kingsbury. Now, are you talking about Sports Bros? Are you talking about for the Cowboys? Because I could see that. I also wouldn't be horrified by Cliff Kingsbury to the Bears simply because he and Caleb are so close. He was the offensive coordinator at USC when he won the Heisman and all. So, there's cases to be made. Cowboys going to hire Dion. That is the best. That is the best. Let him. All right. Let's go. It'll be fun. I mean, I don't know how great of a tactician. Remember, one of the great complaints about Mike McCarthy, this man who's been coaching at the highest level for 30 years and won a Super Bowl and championships and all that stuff. The criticism about Mike McCarthy was that, sometimes he wasn't great with game management. So if that's the main criticism of a Mike McCarthy, and now you're going to bring in Deion Sanders, who's likely to do anything. And I guess the counter to that is, like Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell came in and everybody scoffed. He's biting kneecaps in his press conference. We all laughed at Dan Campbell. Imagine a Deion press conference. Imagine what Jerry Jones and the Cowboy brand would do with Deion Sanders. We won't have seen something like that since Parcells. Do you guys remember when Parcells came to town? And it was huge. Yeah, Deion. Deion's a good call. It's certainly not the best choice for Dallas Cowboys quarterback. The best choice for the Dallas Cowboys with the talent that they have right now, I think, is Ben Johnson. I think it's Ben Johnson if Jerry allows for the implementation of a GM who will work in tandem with Ben Johnson in implementing that offense. I think that's I would love to see that. But no way. Jerry's not going to establish a whole new level of executive presidents of football operation. He's not going to do that. It's a family business. Hey, did you see Landman 2 weeks ago? It was the episode from 2 weeks ago that I watched last night. Well, Jerry's talking about how he's talking to John Hamm. John Hamm's had a heart attack. John Hamm's an oil billionaire there in Fort Worth. He's friends with Jerry. Jerry's at his bedside, and Jerry's talking to John about how family is the most important thing, and how Jerry told the story of how his daughter was out there in Stanford, and he just missed her so much. And so he went out there to Stanford, and he was looking for reasons to visit her at Stanford. So Jerry ended up buying 25 residential lots, Palo Alto, just as an excuse to be out there on business. And, he decided to drill some oil instead of put up some residential lots. So Jerry struck oil, and you use that money to buy the Dallas Cowboys. And I bought the Dallas Cowboys for my family. And then he went on to talk about how, it's all about the family with the Cowboys. He ain't bringing in a president of football operations whose last name isn't Jones, or at least isn't married to someone named Jones. It's just not the way he's going to ride into the sunset. Let's see. What else do we got here? Let me see. Oh, sorry. I made that stupid mistake that I always make. Oh, there we go. Once again, the big news, Mike McCarthy has been relieved of his duties by Jerry Jones. Adam says, for real, F that dude. He sucks. He's a bad person and not a great coach. Jerry can hire anyone else, and I'd grin and bear it. And that's about Dion. I should point out that is Adam's take on Dion. Well, Adam, if your criteria for a head coach is that they be a decent person, you're shit out of luck. Football coaches are some of the worst human beings on the planet. Some of the worst. Let's see. What else do we have here? Mark this, says CC of the Sports Bras. He says, mark this. They will find a way to draft Shedeur, and Dion will come with his son. Watch. Look, isn't there another Sanders that plays like cornerback or something? Couldn't Jerry take a flyer on him in the 6th or 7th without having to, because again, with all due respect to Shedeur Sanders, I really, he ain't the best quarterback in this draft. He's got the flashiest name, and I think if his name wasn't Shedeur Sanders and his father wasn't Deion Sanders, I'm not exactly sure that we'd be talking about him in the way that we talk about. But whatever. Okay, so if the Cowboys want Shedeur Sanders, you can probably make that happen. Because I promise you that there are a lot of teams in this league that would be very interested in Dak Prescott. We come around to draft night, and the Cowboys are looking to make a way to trade up because they think they want to get into the top 5. Where do you think Shedeur is going to go? He's going to go top 5? Is he? Oh, God. Probably. Top 10 at least. So anyway, the Cowboys want to make a play to trade up there. They might trade Dak Prescott for somebody. Hey, Dak Prescott and our first and next year's second? That's a crazy. How could you say no? I tried to create a deal that the other guys would say. I would say yes to that. You're going to give me Dak Prescott. You're going to give me your Cowboys first round this year. What do I want? Do I also want a second this year? Yeah, I want a second this year. I want the Cowboys second this year. That's what I want. And you know what I want? I want a 4th the next year. That's what we're doing. And I'll tell you what, because drafts are crazy, I'm going to give you a 7th next year. There you go. Drafts are crazy. You ever seen how these, you give I'll take your first overall pick, and then in return, you will receive our first round pick, which is 6 picks later, and then you'll also get our second round pick, and then you'll give us your 5th round pick next year, and we'll in return give you our 3rd and 4th round picks in 20. It's crazy the way they try and equal the value so that trades are fair. Frank says the Cowboys would bring in Dion Witten or John Gruden. A normal team would money whip a Chiefs or Buffalo coach. Probably a normal team. Cowboys are not a normal team. And that was great when they were also good and not normal. But now they're just not normal. Now they're just the weird kid. Just weird. All right, let's get started with the show. That's enough of the small talk segment. I do have other things that I wanted to mention. I wanted to talk about Landman. I watched Landman over the weekend. I got all caught up on the new, much talked about Paramount series Landman, starring Billy Bob Thornton. It's all right. So if you talk to anybody, who's seen it, you're like, hey, I want to watch Landman. Have you seen it? And if they've seen it, they'll be like, oh, it's the greatest show. It ain't the greatest show, okay? It ain't. I enjoyed season 1. Billy Bob Thornton is a goddamn master, and if they could just have him on screen for every scene, it would be awesome. But let me tell you a little pro tip about Landman. Taylor Sheridan, who's writing this thing, is obviously spread way too thin, okay? He's got small inklets of really great ideas, but he can't really fill an entire 10 episode season with this idea that he had for Landman. So he put a whole lot of filler in Landman, a whole lot of bullshit. Pro tip, if you want to enjoy the series, any scene that has Billy Bob Thornton's wife, played by Ari Larder, or her daughter, or going to any old folks' homes, or anything having to do with his daughter and her, like, hunky boyfriend, fucking fast forward through that shit. It has nothing to do with the plot. It only serves to fill time because Taylor Sheridan is spread way too thin and can't come, and he needs some soap opera bullshit filler. Landman is a 3-star show. I will give it that, because the stuff with Billy Bob Thornton and John Hamm and Demi Moore and all of that stuff, and the oil worker stuff and the cartel stuff and the dealings with the government and the lawyer stuff, that's all fascinating. And then there's just this bullshit, I'm a hot Texas girl subplot, which is fucking dumb. What is it? It goes from being like this really cool, gritty Sopranos in the oil fields kind of dark vibe to fucking Friday Night Lights for no reason. It's like they just crammed 2 shows together. It's like, it's stupid. I was so mad. I'm like, okay, enough with the fucking old people. There's this whole subplot where Billy Bob's hot wife moves back to Odessa and she's bored because she's from the thriving metropolis of Aledo. What the fuck? I'm like, they talk about Aledo like it's goddamn Paris in this show. And I guess it is if you're living in Odessa. But anyway, it just really, I was so high on the show originally. And then I was just like, this is dumb. This stuff is too dumb. More Billy Bob Thornton. And now we don't even get more John Hamm. John Hamm's gone. Spoiler alert, he dies. As long as I can get more Demi Moore next year. Jesus, Demi Moore looks amazing in Landman. Oh, my God. All right, that'll do it. Frank's watching Landman. Frank says, Allie Larder is older than I thought. I remember her in Varsity Blues. Allie Larder plays the mom. She's hot. She's still hot. She's a gorgeous woman. Fast forward through everything. Her character does nothing but distract from what's cool about the show. Let's see here. Frank says, I guess this is in reference to Landman. He says, as usual, they take what would make a good movie and drag it out over 10 seasons to milk subscriptions. No, I think it's a good series. I think it's a good series if it focuses on the dirty dealings of the oil and gas business. It's fascinating. I know these people. You know, you've probably had these kinds of people in your family if you've lifelong Texans. They are fascinating individuals, and it's a story that the rest of America just doesn't really know about. So that's a great premise for a show. You don't need to turn it into Friday Night Lights. Yes, I like pretty girls too, okay? Fuck. But I don't need it. My boy Ed. John. He says John Hamm didn't die. See, I wouldn't know because I was fast forwarding through bullshit. Sure, he didn't die. I thought he died. He was laying in the last time we saw John Hamm, he was laying in the hospital bed, and Demi Moore was like clutching him like, and the daughters were like breaking down in tears. That told me he was dead. If that guy was really on life support with tubes, she wouldn't be able to crawl on him, grabbing him like that. He's dead. What do you mean he's not dead? Oh, shut up, Jeff. Oh, spoiler alert. Shut up. I do spoiler alerts. I don't give a shit. And there's no such thing as spoiler alerts anymore. People watch things at their own time. We can't just wait for everyone to catch up. It aired last night. It was on TV. It was on national TV last night. It's not a spoiler. You didn't see it. Sucks for you, but you didn't see it. Anyway, he might not be dead. Who knows? So no spoiler alert. Sports Bra says that last scene told me he died. Yeah, I thought he died too. Ed's like, he didn't die. I'm like, there's no way they can afford Jon Hamm for another season. Obviously, he's dead. What? Now I got Ed telling me he's not dead. I don't know. I think there's going to be something between Demi Moore and Billy Bob Thornton. I do. I think that's going to be something. I think you re-signed, but I hope they re-signed Demi Moore for season 2 of Landman before she started winning all these awards for that Substance movie. Because her rate just went way up. Her rate is like climbing. So sure Demi's going to want to renegotiate with Taylor Sheridan. She wins an Oscar? Is she nominated? I don't even know. She won the Golden Globe. That was really cool. Let's see here. Peter says, no, he's not dead. They're waiting for a transplant. Well, then he can't have people like that hanging on. I'm sorry. That is not that. No doctor would allow somebody in that precarious a situation to have family members. And like, where were the masks? When you're waiting on a transplant, you're like hermetically sealed in this. I don't know. I think he's dead. I think they left it like that. And wait, is that a thing? Like, is there an open question as to whether or not Jon Hamm's dead? Because granted, I was fast forwarding through a lot of that bullshit at the end. The old folk stuff in the strip club. I'm like, I don't fucking care about this. This is dumb. So because I was did I miss a crucial thing? Because I stopped on the scene in the hospital because I stop on all scenes with Jon Hamm and Demi Moore. Why not? They're paying these 2 A-list actors. I may as well, may as well watch it. So I'll stop on that. Allie Larder. I don't need Allie Larder. Okay, what are you paying her, a day rate? She's a nothing. She was famous. Frank Smith goes, Allie Larder, and then referenced one thing from like 30 years ago where she wore whipped cream in place of clothes. That's all. Doritos girl, right? She did Doritos commercial. That ain't Demi Moore, Billy Bob Thornton, or Jon Hamm. So I stop at the scenes with the big stars, and I'm watching. I swear I thought he was dead. He's laying there in the hospital. By the way, what hospital is that? What, Fort Worth got some nice hospitals, huh? I'm seeing this show. What I really like about Landman, because you all know that I love Fort Worth. I don't get there enough. I've only been to Fort Worth like 15 times, and you would think that. I mean, I've lived here since 2001. How come I have only been, across town 15 times? I don't know. But every time I go, I got to come here more. And now Landman is showing Fort Worth. And I'm like, God, I still want to move there. I still want to live in Fort Worth. There's something about that. There's something about it. So cool. Dallas isn't cool. Dallas is douchey and pretentious. Fort Worth is cool. Fort Worth is like Milwaukee, but a sexy Milwaukee. That's what I would say. Fort Worth is sexy Milwaukee. All right, let's move on. Let's see. Was there anything else I wanted to mention from the weekend? My son and I did our yearly viewing of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremonies are there on Hulu. So it's a thing we do. We've done it the last 3 years where we sit and we watch the whole thing. And we enjoy it. He enjoys it. Who did we particularly like? Who did he really like? So of the people who went in this year, I guess you got, they opened up with Cher. He had no clue. He's like, who? I'm like, Cher. And then they did the bio on Cher and they got to, I got you, babe. And he's like, oh yeah, okay, she's an icon. That song's like, I'm like, yeah. But he'd never heard like, if I could turn back time, or any of the other stuff. Who was next? We had Kool and the Gang. Now that he came alive for. Get down, get down, get down, get down. Jungle Boogie. He loved that. Foreigner he didn't care so much for. He showed some mild appreciation for Jimmy Buffett, but he was on his phone. Like as soon as they were a couple of minutes into the Jimmy Buffett tribute, and he was on his phone. Sammy Hagar was a big player. He loves Sammy Hagar because he's 15. He loves Van Halen. I think all 15-year-olds love Van Halen. Even back, even it doesn't matter that it's 30 years ago. If you were 15 in 1984, you loved Van Halen. What else? Who else did we have? I don't know, whatever. It was all right. Dionne Warwick. He was like, Dad, what's this bullshit? This isn't, I'm like, it's Tribe Called Quest. That was it. That was the one he really liked. Really liked the Tribe Called Quest. All right. So that's it. That was the weekend. We watched a lot of football. We watched the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he spent the rest of the time studying. He was doing a lot of homework this weekend. But I'm so proud of him. I feel guilty. I'm like, am I bothering you? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. And then the rest of the time he was in YouTube. So good weekend all around. Cold. Not too cold, though. Oh, we did snapping drills on Saturday. Saturday we went out for about an hour and a half. Mace and E the artist's son, Dominic, who is also a center. It's such a great thing that these two, there's only 2-year age difference between them, but it's like these two guys, they're both play the same position. They're basically cousins, they're being raised together. So we did that. That was fun. All right, let's get to it. It is the Rant live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios. I'm Pugs Moran. It is 1/13/25, even though I wrote 24 again. I'm still doing that. January the 13th is the 13th day of the year. There's 352 more of these remaining until the end of the year. Let's run through some, quarter one of today's show. We do the show in 4 quarters because it's a stream of consciousness. It's just me talking. That's all it is. First quarter, antecedently on this day. It's basically just a look back at history. Let's see. Antecedently on this day in 1942, Henry Ford patents a soybean car. A soybean car. Didn't take off. Sorry, Henry. They're not all going to be hits. Even the Beatles had some flops. No, they didn't. They didn't. Every record the Beatles released out to radio made it to the top 40. That's crazy, isn't it? Not a single flop. Henry Ford tried to make a car out of soybean. It didn't run on soybean. It was made from a soybean plastic, and it weighed nothing. Like you could pick up your car. No, you couldn't because the engine was still expensive or heavy. But you know what I mean? You could lift up the frame, take the car out, take the engine out. That's antecedently on this day in 1942. Antecedently on this day in 1966, Robert C. Weaver becomes the first African-American cabinet member when he was appointed by, is this Johnson? Yeah, Johnson. So he was the first cabinet secretary, first black dude in the cabinet. Johnson did it on this day in 1966, and they put him in charge of the ghettos. Really? First guy through the door had to be Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Black guy, it seems a little on the nose. Couldn't have made him, I don't know, Secretary of the Interior or something like that. No, they put him in charge of the ghettos. Urban Development, Housing and Urban Development, HUD. What else? Do I have any other comments on this? First guy, nah, not really. All right, moving on. Antecedently on this day in 1968, Johnny Cash performs live at Folsom State Prison. It was a bit. Johnny Cash's career is a big moment, and he put an album out. It became a big sort of hallmark album in his career, and it sort of rekindled him as somebody who was relevant. But Johnny was going through some things. He wasn't as hot as he was when he did this back in 1968. And it was to capitalize on what he'd done earlier in his career. Early in his career, Johnny Cash, before he was Johnny Cash, his first audiences were prisons. He played at San Quentin, famously, where Merle Haggard was in the audience. And Johnny Cash inspired Merle Haggard when he got out of prison to become a country singer of his own. So, the Folsom thing, it's a cool album. It's a landmark in Johnny Cash's career. But when you put it into context, it really was at the time a desperate attempt to get him relevant again by doing something that he had done 10 years earlier at the start of his career. Still cool. Johnny Cash performs at Folsom State Prison on this day in 1968. On this day in 1982, shortly after takeoff, Air Florida Flight 90. A Boeing 737 jet crashes into Washington, D.C.'s 14th Street Bridge. Now, I don't mention plane crashes on this in this segment. I used to do all the plane crashes, and then we just realized there were too many plane crashes, and that's such a bummer. But this one, man, I remember vividly this. This happened on a Sunday night. and I was in boarding school, and I had just been dropped off from home. I would go home on weekends, and I was dropped off, and I was laying in my room, and I had a Walkman back then with a radio, and I remember when this happened, and I was listening to AM news radio overnight, and they were doing these live phone calls with people on the scene. The plane took off from Reagan Airport and essentially just crashed into the Potomac, striking the 14th Street Bridge in Washington, D.C. first. This is a plane crash in the middle of downtown Washington. It's crazy. God, I mean, and I know there were a number of other big breaking news events that piqued my interest as a kid, but for some reason, when I think of my love to this day of just being on the edge of my seat and listening to every detail as it comes across, I can trace it back to this moment when I was listening to the reports live from Washington, D.C. at midnight on a Walkman underneath my blankets at boarding school. It was incredible. 74 people, 79 people. Yeah, 79 people were on board. I believe it was 5 crew, 4 passengers, and 1 crew member survived. Everybody else perished in the frozen waters of the Potomac. It was ice. The plane literally crashed through the ice. It was iced over. And it also struck a bunch of cars on the bridge. A number of people in cars on the bridge, 14th Street Bridge, Sunday night, just driving, quiet Sunday night. Holy shit, here comes a plane. Oh my God. On this day, 1982, Air Florida, Washington, D.C. plane crash. Antecedently on this day in 2012, a different kind of passenger experience. This one, I'll never forget this one too. It was on this day in 2012, the passenger ship, the Costa Concordia, sinks off the coast of Italy due to the captain, remember this guy? Francesco Schettino. His negligence and irresponsibility. There are 32 confirmed deaths. This is a cruise ship, if you remember. It was cruising the Med. I don't know where this is. This is the Mediterranean. Seems like it. So it's cruising the Mediterranean cruise. And Schettino, the captain, he wanted to make a really close by shore pass of this resort town. Apparently he had some friends who were at a restaurant or something. He's like, I'm going to drive by and wave. I'll flicker the lights on the boat. So he's showing off, and he comes too close, and he flips the boat like a jet ski. This freaking idiot. There's thousands of people on this boat. Everybody's in the water. Remember, it sat on its side for months. They're like, what do we do with this thing? Anyway, Schettino, the captain, this piece of shit. You remember the famous recordings? What? Again, bullshit, you guys. The world is full of bullshit. Things you think are real just simply aren't real. And I always go back to, the Malaysian airliner. It just disappeared. It's a passenger plane that just disappeared. The day before that plane disappeared, I would have bet my kids' college money, not that there is any, but I would have bet my kids' college money that there is no way possible a passenger plane in 2019 or 18, whenever that was, could just disappear from radar. I'm like, you're crazy. They know where those things are at all times. This is why when people run their mouth about stupid shit, the North Koreans, they got a missile that can hit San Francisco. North Koreans don't have a missile that can get out of this atmosphere. Stop running your mouth. We think we know shit. And you know what? I'll tell you what. You know why I haven't murdered anybody? Okay, a couple of reasons. I've never murdered anybody because, I wouldn't murder people. That's kind of a line I would never cross. But also because of shows like CSI and shit like that. I think there is no way you could get away with murder in 2025. They know how to do it too well. I think that's bullshit. I think all that CSI shit is bullshit. I think they're nowhere near as good at it as we think they are. And it's because we watch this on TV and we're like, oh, they're good. They can do anything. Nah. So this brings me to my other thing that turns out to be bullshit. What happened to the captain going down with the ship? Captain Schettino, he was the first guy off. And by the time the Coast Guard arrived, and they're like, hey, where's the captain? The captain was on shore, which of course elicited the famous response from the Italian Coast Guard. Schettino, get back in the boat. They told him, they ordered him. He was safe. They ordered him to get back in a rowboat and row back out to his capsized ship and be the freaking captain. Schettino sucked. That dude sucks. I was on this day in 2012. Okay, that's going to do it for antecedently on this day. Let's run through some birthdays. Quarter 2, birthdays. A bunch of celebrities, notable quotables, celebrating birthdays on this day. We decide whether or not they deserve our happy birthday or not. All right, born on this day in 1931. Charles Nelson Riley. Charles Nelson Riley. Let me tell you about Charles Nelson Riley. Hollywood, for the longest time, only allowed 3 obviously gay men. They only allowed 3. Okay. You had Paul Lynde. He was the test model. Paul Lynde was floated out first. He was obviously gay. Liberace, you might be saying, you're like, well, what about Liberace? I'm like, no, Liberace, actually, that's weird. He was a real human. That's a real dude. Anyway, point being, Paul Lynde was the first Hollywood clone rolled out for this new test market. They're like, let's make a gay guy and not tell anybody. The idea with Paul Lynde was, let's make somebody who's so gay, but then let's do this psyop on the American public to see who's obviously knows he's gay and who denies that he's gay and is like, no, he's just a confirmed bachelor. Like my grandma. I'll never forget Hollywood Squares is on. My grandma and grandpa, I'm like 10 years old. My grandma and grandpa start going back and forth. My grandma says some nonsense like, Paul Lynde is so sexy. Grandma said that. To which my grandpa responded, yeah, I don't think he's into you, Bernie. And I remember I perked up. I'm like, huh? What? And then she's like, well, you just think everyone. And she said this word, and I'd never heard this word used in this way before. But my grandma says to my grandpa, oh, you just think everyone's a gay blade. Like a gay blade? The fuck? I'm like 8 years old. And then my grandpa leans into me, and he goes, Paul Lynde's one of those, you know what I mean? He does that. And I'm like, oh, I instantly got it. Because all dudes know. We're like, oh, yeah, I get it. But Grandma was in the dark. Grandma had no idea that Paul Lynde was gay, or she refused to admit it. Anyway, Paul Lynde was the first one. He was fairly successful with big parts in TV, and they realized there was a market to have a very effeminate, flamboyant man for comic purposes. So they decided to make a couple more, and on this day, they rolled out the Charles Nelson Riley. I don't know what Charles Nelson Riley was. I think he was just a closeted gay man who they put on TV. I don't know that he was an actor. I don't know. Yeah, I guess he was an actor. Wasn't he in Bewitched? Was he in Bewitched? I don't know. Anyway, we know him from game shows. Let's watch a little bit of Charles Nelson Riley, shall we? I'll give an example of what people didn't know was a gay man. Or they did know, and maybe they just didn't. Maybe is that the better move, guys? Maybe our grandparents had it right. Maybe our grandparents were just like, yeah, those people are out. They treated them well. They just didn't want to know from the sex. They were just like, don't bring your boyfriend. I guess you can't do that. See, that's where you're like, yeah, why can't they bring their boyfriend? Because now it's obvious. But when it wasn't obvious, look at me. I'm like a straight, white, middle-aged man sitting here on a stream advocating for gay men to go back in the closet. Go back in the closet. You had it better. Admit it, you had it better. There was mystery. There was, now gay, dime a dozen. Anyway, here's Charles Nelson Riley. Let's watch him. People didn't know he was gay.
Delighted that you're back. What's that?
That's him.
No, it's for Richard.
He's busy right now. Take the message.
Richard.
We're not leaving the show, but well, what the heck?
I also like how all the people on these game shows, which incidentally aired at like 8 a.m. or whatever, they all got the Coke sweats. You ever notice from these 70s game shows, all these people are like super sweaty? That's cocaine. They were all doing Coke. They were all trying to stay up. They're recording. I don't know when they recorded these things. Because they weren't live. It's not like they were live at 9 a.m. I don't know.
Yes, Alan, everything I told you in New York is true. Bye.
Charles hasn't even waked up yet, dear. There he goes.
There he goes.
He's moving.
Leave him alone now. Don't you break it.
Can I just say I love that sweater? I love that sweater. I would wear that sweater. I wouldn't do the ascot. The ascot's a little much,
His concentration, you have to start all over
What
again.
concentration?
Jacket's ready, so we'll press on.
Oh, we did break his concentration. He's thrown away his car.
Starting all over. Too late, Charles. Come on, Charles.
By the way, here's the crazy thing about these. These people are all in their 30s. Look at how old they all look. I'm telling you, people who went through the Depression, In World War II, that took a lot out of them. These people are all in their 30s.
I thought you were all refreshed from your trip to New York.
We're running out of music, Charles.
Not this tune, you ain't. This goes on and on and on. And I've heard it for 2 damn years.
All right, there you have it. Charles Nelson Riley, totally straight, not gay at all. Born on this day in 1931. He was funny. He's the guy that you liked. He was like, call out Charles. He's gonna do something silly. Charles Nelson Riley, born on this day in 1931. Now I told you that there were 3, right? I gave you Paul Lynde, and I told you about Charles Nelson Riley. Would you be shocked to learn that on this day in Hollywood, they rolled out the third gay man that they were going to allow to get work in Hollywood? It was on this day, same year, as Charles Nelson Riley, Hollywood Clone Factory rolled out the 3rd gay variety in their only 3 gays are allowed to work. Born on this day in 1931, Rip Taylor. Yeah. You know, Rip Taylor and Charles Nelson Riley are born on the same day, same year. I mean, it's not just that's pretty interesting. It certainly does bode well for my premise that there is a Hollywood clone factory cranking these things out. All right, here you go. Let's watch this. This is Rip Taylor, another guy who was absolutely not gay. He was just allowed to be flamboyant, and that's a good thing. Here we go. Oh, it's a Jerry Lewis telethon.
Rip Taylor, here he is. Let's welcome him, everybody.
Okay, there he is. Okay, so I'm going to enjoy this on another level. What is his act? Like, what is he a stand-up comedian? What is Rip Taylor's act? How did he make money enough to afford a Beverly Hills lifestyle? Let's watch his act. Let's see what this is.
Show business. Oh, police. Oh. Come on in the back and we all make this right to get in here. Help the children, please. Okay.
This is all just fabricated energy. This isn't entertainment. This is just the music going wah, bah, 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 and him running around. This is just this is bullshit. There is no content here.
Okay, thank you. You got the job. Hi. Sheet music.
All that for that one prop joke.
Better keep moving. That's how Lincoln got it. Jesus. Well, Jerry, I say one thing. Holy Moses. Holy Moses. God, they're blind, too. Well, Jerry sent a limousine for me. Thank God it missed.
Oh, okay. All right, that's enough. We can't spend that much time on Charles Nelson Riley and Rip Taylor, although I do find it very curious that they were both born on the same day. Hollywood Clone Factory. I'm telling you, there is a factory that's been operating in Hollywood since the end of World War II that has been creating character types and forcing them on the American public. Born on this day in 1931, Rip Taylor. All right, now, born on this day in 1961, one of my all-time favorite celebrities. I don't know, do you have like a list? Do you have like, who's your favorite? This like in the female category? Like if you were to like, okay, so who's your favorite celebrity? I would probably be like Bruce Springsteen. He's like the coolest. He's like, you know, you're never going to, here's what I like about Bruce Springsteen. You're never going to see him get pulled over and then like, you know, giving shit to a cop. That's not going to, drunk Springsteen talking shit to a cop is not something you're ever going to see. And I'm fairly comfortable with that. Fairly comfortable with my understanding of who that man is deep down in his soul and how he carries himself and how he has behaved all these years. So as far as my favorite celebrity, him. You know who else, though? If we're going female category, our birthday girl, born on this day in 1961. Some of you know. Those of you who know me, you know. You know my crush, my lifelong crush. Since like 1982 when she popped up on Saturday Night Live and they didn't know what to do with her. And I'm like, use that really cute girl more. Happy birthday, Julia Louis Dreyfus, otherwise known as JLD. the great JLD, American Treasure for sure. Elaine Bennis, Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez? Wait, what? Selena Meyer? Sorry, she's Selena Meyer from Veep. She's incredible, and she's a billionaire. Her father's one of her family are the Dreyfus family. They very, very powerful, influential French family that came over to America around the turn of the century, and they began to bank here. And yes, very, very one of the scary. They've got multiple seats at the Illuminati meetings. Okay, that's who Julia Louis-Dreyfus's family is. But she carries herself very well. She doesn't live ostentatiously. She's got a house in Beverly Hills. She doesn't have an estate in Santa Barbara. She's got a house in Beverly Hills with neighbors and a fence and shit. She lives a normal life, and she seems like a pretty cool chick. I love her. Happy birthday, JLD, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Born on this day in 1961. Born on this day in 1966, Patrick Dempsey. Isn't he Dr. McHottie? Wasn't that his second act? Or maybe even third act? I don't know. Because Patrick Dempsey, to me, was a child actor from the 1980s. Patrick Dempsey made a string of, B-list movies, that were fun, that all teenagers saw. And he was cool, kind of liked them, kind of offbeat, kind of Patrick Dempsey. And then he did nothing for 15 years. And we all figured Patrick Dempsey's not an actor anymore. He OD'd with the kid from Leave It to Beaver. But no, Patrick Dempsey then pops up as like a 35-year-old man on some ABC doctor show. And he's Dr. McHottie. And all these millennials are like, oh, he's new. And we're like, no, he's not. He's been around since he was 15. Anyway, happy birthday. I always liked Patrick Dempsey, although I'm not familiar with his Dr. Hottie work or whatever he's known as. Born on this day in 1966. Born on this day in 1972. Here's another one, a Gen X favorite, for sure. Charles in charge of your days and your nights. Charles in charge. Happy birthday, the amazing Nicole Eggert. Oh, I know some of you are like, she's not just Charles in charge, she's also Baywatch. I never saw her on Baywatch. I never watched Baywatch. I'm sorry. I had girlfriends, all right? I had girlfriends, and I was... When was Baywatch on? Like 8 o'clock on a Saturday? I was out. I was tending bar. I didn't watch Baywatch. So I've seen the clips. I mean, I understand how Baywatch is something that you might want for just, 90 seconds at a time, or whatever. I just don't know that I need to watch Baywatch. So Nicole Eggert is always going to be the girl from Charles in Charge. Oh, she was so cute. Scott Baio. Remember that deal? What kind of a father would allow that? So here's the premise of Charles in Charge, right? So the dad, is the dad dead or is the dad out of town? I thought the premise was the dad was out of town. Dad's always out of town, and he's got these 2 daughters and and a wife, right? Is that it? Was there a wife? God, I don't know. Can't believe I'm really struggling to remember the plot of Charles in Charge. At any rate, my point is this. No father would allow Scott Baio to live in their house with their 2 hot teenage daughters and maybe sexually repressed wife. He was still Chachi. He's like a couple of years removed from Chachi. You're going to let Chachi move in with this? Nicole Eggert? It's like, yeah, sure. I don't have any concerns that Chachi's now going to be around this all the time. Yeah, that did happen. That's Nicole Eggert. We all get older. It happens. Well, that's pretty. But hey, you know what, though? Let me tell you something. I got nothing. I was going to try and say something positive, but I got nothing. She got older. Did she have babies, maybe? Maybe this maybe babies? I don't know. But I mean, it really is kind of like, it's like, whoa. And then it's like, huh. Oh my God. Okay. That's the Nicole Eggert that that's the Nicole Eggert that you do not allow Chachi to move into your house for, right? You're like, no, sorry, Chachi. Have you seen my daughters? You're not moving into this house. Yeah, she's look at her. She's beautiful girl, Nicole Eggert. Beautiful. Look at her pretty smile. California. Look at her. Oh, natural. Now this. Look at this. All right, so what is this? What are we looking at here? This is what, like a 35-year-old Nicole Eggert? She's got some extra pounds, but I'm sorry, that's a smoking woman. That is a gorgeous, she's Nicole Eggert, okay? If she cleans, she's gonna still look like, look, that's a great foundation, is all I'm saying. You start out gorgeous, I don't care how much depreciation there is. You know, by the time you're 6, Helen Mirren started out gorgeous. And look at her now. She's still beautiful. All right, I don't know what's going on there. There you go. That's okay. Wait a second. That looks like Fat Melania. Am I crazy? Or is that like Fat Melania? Looking at the pictures of Nicole Eggert. It's her birthday. She's beautiful. This is eating disorder, Nicole Eggert. You can tell. Because look at how gaunt she is. And this is like, yeah, she's fighting it. And then, you know, she was like, this is perfect. You go, girl. You look healthy. You're beautiful. All right, there you go. Happy birthday, Nicole Eggert. She's born on this day, year of our Lord, 1972. Also born on this day in 1990, one of them Hemsworths. Is he even deserving of a name? It's the Liam one. Who's Liam? I don't know who this is. Which Hemsworth is Liam? Is this Thor? This ain't Thor, right? Is this right? Does the guy who plays Thor have a much more handsome brother? Is that him? I heard a girl say that once. Like, yeah, Thor's the ugly little brother. Is that a thing? I don't know. Or do I have that wrong? Whatever. All right. Anyway, happy birthday, Liam Hemsworth. I don't know what your deal is or why, but okay, here we go. That's going to do it for birthdays. Now let's do the deads. Quarter 3. The last one is the deads. These are people who passed away on this day. We open up their life's resume and we decide whether or not they went to heaven or did they go to hell. Heaven or hell, the deads. Here we go. Quick ones. Dead on this day, 1929, Wyatt Earp. Wyatt Earp is going to hell. I'm putting Wyatt Earp in hell. You want to know why? Because Wyatt Earp is bullshit. Wyatt Earp is not true. Wyatt Earp is not real. Wyatt Earp was a nobody. Wyatt Earp was a nobody who survived and then ran and told the story. That's who Wyatt Earp essentially is. Wyatt Earp gets the movies. Wyatt Earp gets the stories. Wyatt Earp gets the books and the novels and the documentaries. He was an assistant. You realize we're talking about the OK Corral, the famous Western shootout at the OK Corral. It's also the origin of the term cowboys. Did you know that? They weren't called cowboys. The specific group that the Earp brothers and Doc Holliday were fighting, the specific group, were known as the Cowboys. And throughout the retelling of the story of the shootout at the OK Corral, the word cowboy became generic for just anybody who rode a horse and, worked the land. But this is the origin story of the word cowboy. So the OK Corral. So Virgil Earp, the brother, was the U.S. Marshal and the sheriff and all of this stuff, and he was in charge. His brother, Wyatt, who became far more famous, was just an assistant who was deputized for the posse. They formed a federal posse to go and round up the cowboys. If you know the story. Yeah. So anyway, Wyatt Earp, it's like he wasn't even the guy. The guy at the OK Corral was Virgil Earp, the brother who was in charge, who wasn't a glory hound, but apparently Wyatt was. And that's who history remembers. Dead on this day, Wyatt Earp. Go to hell! You stole your brother's fame and infamy. Born on this day dead on this day in 1962. Here's one of the geniuses. This is a real shame. This is, there are people who in the early days of certain innovations spring up and they just push it forward and then they're gone like a flicker. Steve Jobs is an example of that. What Steve Jobs did with the personalizing, the connection between human and machine in the way we've become reliant. That was Steve Jobs. And then Steve Jobs flames out. He's gone. Taken away from us. Early television had one of these guys. And he died on this day in 1962 in a car accident. He was a young man killed in a car accident. But the body of work that he created, 12 years of television, has him rated as one of the most influential people in the history of American television. Everybody else was doing. Did you ever see early news? Have you ever seen here's the news. It's 1949 on TV. 5 people are watching. It's a guy at a desk in a newsroom with a typewriter, and he just stops what he's doing and he looks into the camera. It's all based on his office, his newspaper room office. And that's all it is, just a camera. That's how TV was in the beginning. It was just, let's just use the camera to capture what, instead of creating this world with the camera. Ernie Kovacs was the first guy to do that. Ernie Kovacs died on this day in 1962. He said, no, the camera is not a keyhole that the audience is looking through. The camera is a magic mirror that transports them to a world they never expected. All of the special effects and the innovations and the use of music and mime and pantomime and art, and he was light years ahead of everything else. Let's give me an example of Ernie Kovacs. This is from YouTube. This is the best of Ernie Kovacs. Let's give an example. I won't watch a whole bunch of it, but he's one of the forgotten
adults with moderate to severe.
We good?
You caught me, didn't you? Oh, it has been so long since we've seen each other over the Orthicon tube.
This is Jack Lemmon speaking. Ernie Kovacs was the funniest, wildest, zaniest man I ever knew. Ernie thought so too, and so did millions of happy people. Ernie was all over television on one network or another from 1950 until he died in 1962. He had an unpredictable and illogical view of the world. He played with the medium of television in a way no one ever had before, and he created a batch of cockeyed characters that have become classics. So slow down your internal clock.
All right, there you go. That's all we need. Okay, Ernie Kovacs, gone, but shouldn't be forgotten. We're putting him in heaven. Let's see here, chat room. Ernie was high as a kite, says Peter. Probably. So what? So was everyone who made every record album you ever liked, or wrote every TV show or movie you ever loved. Hey, man. That's how it was done. Let's see. Amy Rock says, I saw Gerald Casale of Devo get the Ernie Kovacs Award at Texas Theater. Didn't know who Ernie Kovacs was at first. Had to look him up beforehand. What an innovative guy. Shame he died so young. Yeah, car accidents, man. I mean, it's just there have been these people throughout history who just appear in the early stages of a new medium or innovation or whatever, and they just push it forward and then they're gone. It's, the example I gave was Steve Jobs, but there are a lot of other examples. A lot of other people who just were so important to the beginnings of things and where they ended up going, and then, we're gone. All right, there you have it. I'm putting Ernie Kovacs, of course. I'm putting him in heaven. There you go. He goes to heaven. Dead on this day in 2016. We'll put him in hell. Lawrence Phillips. You guys remember Lawrence Phillips? Lawrence Phillips, Nebraska running back, Tom Osborne. Lawrence Phillips got suspended from Nebraska because he broke into Scott Frost's apartment. Remember Scott Frost, the quarterback? Did Scott Frost win a Heisman? Anyway, broke into Scott Frost's apartment because Scott Frost was sleeping with Lawrence Phillips' girlfriend, and he dragged his girlfriend out of Scott Frost's apartment and beat the snot out of her. And Tom Osborne didn't do nothing because the dude was averaging like 11 yards per carry. And then he got in trouble again. This dude was a thug. This guy was he's the worst. In and out of trouble his entire life. Now you can look back at his life, foster care, that kind of thing. Kid never had a chance, but okay. That's after action conversation. We are in the middle of this action now with this guy. I can't feel bad for him. He's a bad guy. And the Los Angeles Rams, the St. Louis Rams at this point. St. Louis Rams drafted the much troubled Lawrence Phillips out of Nebraska in 94, 95, something like that. They took him 6th overall. 6th overall. First of all, a running back going 6th overall. That's, we ain't seen that in a while. Although, where did Bijan go? I guess maybe Bijan was a high. So the Rams take him 6th overall in St. Louis. Because, oh my God, he's good with a football in his hands. And, the Rams not only used the 6th overall pick on Lawrence Phillips, but the Rams also traded future Hall of Fame running back Jerome Bettis to the Steelers in order to acquire Lawrence Phillips. Lawrence Phillips would last 2 years with the Rams before getting into more legal trouble. He ended up playing in Canada, bounced around, getting arrested and in trouble for violent shit. He was an alcoholic. He was a crazy alcoholic who would get drunk and fight people. That's basically what the story of Lawrence Phillips is. Lawrence Phillips ended up in prison doing time, a significant stretch. I think he was given 10 years for another assault, and he's in prison, and he's got a cellmate. And the morning comes, and the guards come to Lawrence Phillips' cell, and the cellmate is dead, like strangled to death. It was just so Lawrence Phillips killed his cellmate while he was in jail, and then Lawrence Phillips killed himself. And then he killed himself. But my God, 6th overall pick. I mean, I have compassion for these things because of, his backstory. He's like, his parents were no parents, foster in and out, probably abused in every level, emotional, sexual, physical, all of that stuff, I'm sure. I don't know. I look at people like Tom Osborne, the head coach of Nebraska, who, probably had an opportunity to instill in this kid the idea that, my God, look at where you've come from, but together we can get you to a place where all of that ain't going to matter anymore and you can be a good person. I don't know that Tom Osborne failed. That's the job of a college coach. When you have a super talented young man who comes from obviously despicable beginnings, I don't know. And it's just sad. Every level failed Lawrence Phillips. Every level. Making him a 6th round fucking draft pick. We're going to take a flyer on him. We don't care if he gets in trouble. You care when the newspapers start printing about his trouble, don't you? Oh, yeah. Then you get and where are you? Where are you, Los Angeles Rams or St. Louis Rams? You're 2 years removed from drafting him number 6 overall. You're cutting him. And, oh, yeah, you traded away Jerome Bettis. You morons. Terrible story. Lawrence Phillips goes to hell. All right, there you have it. That's going to be the first 3 categories in today's show. The Hot Topics segment continues now with all the day's news. What is the big story? Is the big story Mike McCarthy? Do we start with Mike McCarthy, or we already talked about that? Is the big story the California fires? All right, let's do the fires. Here we go. Fire talk. California fire has been burning now for 6 days. Is this day 6? Oh, the conspiracy theories are out there. This is just the latest distraction. This is the thing that's, occupying all my time. We got bored collectively. The American public, we got bored of the drone stuff. Don't even know if they're still, did they stop? Or are we just no longer paying attention? What? Oh, the drones had us all spun up for a good 3 weeks and now nothing. Still seeing somebody's like, I saw a drone over my house in New Jersey, and everybody's like, shut up, you're boring. You're 2024. Still need to know what the drone situation is, what that shit's about. But okay, we've moved on to forest fires and wildfires and all the conspiracies and fun that people can have with that. Democrats starting fires. Yeah, okay. I'm certainly willing to have a reasonable conversation with people about policies that are in place and laws that may have, compounded what's going on here. But stop it. Stop with who's to blame. It's a fucking forest fire in a place that has had forest fires 10 times a year for 2,000 years. What are we talking about here? Now, this one happened in a place where, a doomsday scenario. And this is not like out of nowhere. It's not. Let's talk about the Palisades fire. Okay. The Palisades fire and the Eaton fire are the 2 big fires that are happening. There are other fires that are going on. The Kenneth fire is a new one. There's a Hearst fire The Sunset Fire has been put out. But the two big ones that are still raging and that are responsible for the death toll, at least the death toll that we know so far, 25, is Eaton and Palisades. So the thing about the Palisades fire is that there have been fires, wildfires in this area consistently and regularly for always. Just a couple of weeks ago, less than a mile away, okay, across the canyon, we had the Pepperdine fire. Remember the Pepperdine fire from 3 weeks ago? We're like, students at Pepperdine are sheltering in place. But that was a fire that was occurring in the canyons, the undeveloped parts of the canyons. And this is where they typically happen. These fires typically are in places where there's not a whole lot of densely packed in population. The Palisades fire is the perfect storm. Palisades fire isn't a shock. Apparently, people in Los Angeles and Southern California who know about these things have been saying for decades that that's the perfect storm, that should a fire start here in a location that is not easy to get to, if the origin starts in a place where you can't put it out right away because of the population of the Pacific Palisades, that would be a doomsday fire. And they've been talking about it for decades. And the government of California has done nothing. There is a bill, apparently, that has been in California for a decade about building firewalls. It's like money for firewalls to protect this area. But they couldn't get it through. They couldn't get it passed because apparently rich people live in this area. And there were too many people in California who were like, why is that money going to rich people and not, well, rich people? I guess that's relative. I mean, they're not as rich as they are in Beverly Hills or as they are in Malibu. Still nice. I mean, Pacific Palisades, still nice. What am I talking about? I think the average price is $3 million. But so that's the gridlock that politics caused. And now everything is burning. The perfect storm happened. They weren't able to have the money to build the fire roads and the firewalls and all the stuff that they wanted to do to protect against the perfect storm fire that they'd been predicting for decades. So, government failed in that, and it happened. And now all of these people have lost everything. I tweeted over the weekend, and this is a very, very scary thing to say, but it's also very true. The insurance claims that American citizens will be filing in Southern California could very easily bankrupt any number of insurance companies. But that doesn't happen because you see the insurance companies will find ways to reject the claims on almost half of these people. That's been the system that we've all been working in. Acknowledge, yep, that happens. So what's going to happen this time now? What's going to happen? What's going to happen this time? Well, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of policies and people who are going to be losing it. How would you feel being Josh from State Farm right now, right? Target on his back. I mean, and I'm not even talking about the real, I'm talking about the actual Josh actor, the guy who plays. I mean, that's how stirred up we all are. There's no way the insurance companies are going to pay for all of this. We will. Oh, we will. Oh, yeah, there'll be federal grants and all that. Why? Because the insurance companies won't. Insurance companies are supposed to. You're not supposed to need look, you might need some federal dollars for the things that the insurance companies rightfully won't cover, like roads and fire stations and high schools. And again, 15 high schools have burned. 15 high schools. It's insane what's happening here. The death toll has been raised just within the last hour. We're now at 25 dead with thousands suffering burns, many severe. Again, this death toll number, we don't know yet. I mean, they're still fighting fires, right? There's going to be a pretty significant and really sad number attached. 2 weeks from now or whatever, we're gonna have a number that is much larger than 25. Let's see. What is this? Oh yeah. Okay. So this is cool. This is, like I said last week, there was a point Thursday night where I'm looking at pictures of the devastation and I just don't know how to react to it. I want to be phony. right? I don't want to be like, oh, that's horrible, because that's the programmed response. I really want to look at this and just funnel my emotion organically. I want it to be a sincere reaction. And I got to be honest, I am dead to this. I am so shocked. My emotion is, it's not an emotion that I as a human being has ever been able to reach. I don't know what this emotion is. It is absolute stun. Here we go. This is a before and after of Pacific Palisades. Let's watch this. So, I like how they do this because they're going to go back and forth so that we can see it. Okay, so here you see on the right here, this is still before the fire, and this is what it looks like after the fire. Let's do this again. Look at the trees. In the before picture, look at the trees, and then when it switches, look at, they are all burned. Like no more leaves, no more green. Look at that. Look at these houses. Don't talk to me about a tornado that takes out a block and skips houses. And, well, I don't understand it. My house wasn't affected at all, and my neighbor's is crushed. This is a nuclear detonation. This is the same look that if a nuke had flattened this area. So we need to start processing it in that kind of terms as far as destruction and... tell you, the amount of irate Californians, homeowners, who are going to be wanting blood from their insurance companies based upon the reaction they're going to get from their insurance companies. The insurance companies are going to nickel and dime people unless the insurance companies hold the federal government hostage and are like, yeah, which somehow, yeah, so we're going to bail out State Farm. Okay. What else do we have here? Oh, this is amazing. All right, so one of the things that I've really kind of, I talk about these moments in my life where I don't understand anything at all, and then something clicks and I totally get it. I always use the example of driving a stick shift. I had no concept of what a stick shift was. And then one moment I understood what it was. I understood it was I'm putting this in this hole and then pulling it. I understood, it clicked for me, and I was able to, so I have these moments. This weekend, I kind of had another one of those moments when it comes to Southern California and Los Angeles. I mean, I've been there less than 10 times, but I've been there a significant amount in my life. I've spent time in Southern California. I enjoy it. I love it. It's beautiful. I have a feeling as if I know how to get to, from LAX to Hollywood or to downtown or to the beach. I can do that. That's a nice sort of natural working knowledge. I've been there enough. But really, when I'm looking at all of these fires and I'm looking at the maps and I'm watching the live coverage from, the local news crews in Southern California, I realize that is a fucked up place, man. I had never realized how screwed up and weird Los Angeles, the Los Angeles area in particular is. First of all, Hollywood in downtown Los Angeles, the Staples Center and all of that we picture, that's almost like the floor of a valley. And then the Hollywood Hills, which are right there off Sunset, and then Mulholland is the famous road that goes up and down through the hills. That's almost like a wall, like a berm that separates, And then there are the places on the other side of the hill, like that's where Pasadena is, and that's where all of these places, Burbank Studio. I had no idea. Anyway, I now, after this weekend of studying these maps and looking where all these different fires are, I feel like I kind of get what Southern California is. And it's gorgeous and screwed up. Give you an example. There's a part, the famous 405. They're always saying the 405 freeway and Hollywood, it's horrible. So the 405 is sort of the road that they're worried about these storms, these fires jumping. And there is a canyon just to the west of the 405 in the Hollywood Hills known as Mandeville Canyon. Mandeville Canyon right now is the hotspot for these fires. I don't even consider this the Palisades. I don't know what the Mandeville Canyon fire is being called. I don't think it's the Palisades fire. It's a totally different fire. But I'm looking at I'm looking at Mandeville Canyon, and I'm like, from 3D maps and all that, it looks like one road in the middle of a canyon. It looks really remote. You know, it's like, who would live there? That's like if you're living in LA and you're deciding to live in this canyon. So then I do like Street View, and I'm driving around, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is Arlington. This is not at all what it looks like in the canyon. So my point is this: there's like tens of thousands of people in there. This is an entire community in Mandeville Canyon with Target stores and shit. You know, I mean, it's crazy. And this whole thing could burn to cinders starting on Tuesday because apparently the winds are going to kick back up and they're going to shift direction. So that's what we're supposed to be watching now, Mandeville Canyon. Here, I got a list here. And by the way, Mandeville Canyon is like, it's not like, where's that? How far is that from how? No, if you like, you know, Jimmy Kimmel could live in Mandeville Canyon. Actually, there are a lot of celebrities who live in Mandeville Canyon. Harrison Ford lives in Mandeville Canyon. He had to be evacuated. Speaking of, let's go through a list. Here's a list of celebrities. This is a famous Pugs and Kelly bit. Celebrities who have lost homes. My partner Kelly and I did this bit years ago when there were Hollywood wildfires in Malibu. And it was a bit where we just got a list of celebrities whose homes were destroyed, and we decided if we liked and cared for these celebrities. We got in trouble for that. You shouldn't be doing that. We're like, celebrities are assholes. And we didn't hate on everybody. Ed Asner, we were very concerned that Ed Asner recovered most of his lifelong memories from his house before it burned to the ground. So it's not like everybody took a beating from us. Yeah, Prince. We didn't give a shit that Prince's house burned down. Who cares about Prince's house burning down? He's Prince. He's a dick. He's got another one. But Ed Asner, you're like, oh, hard for an old man to move, you know? It's like you don't. All right, so let's do this. Here we got a list of celebrities who've lost homes in the fire. I thought this was interesting. So let's, where is it? Celebrities who've lost homes. Here we go. Hold on, I got this list. They took the story down? Oh, no, they didn't. Okay, here we go. All right, so celebrities who have lost homes in the fire. Okay. Oh, you know what? I can just do it from, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do it from the Twitter so we can do this together so you can see the pictures of these people. Hold on. Hold on. Apparently there's a lot. Oh, no. That's the first one? The first one. You guys, the first one sucks. The first one, I'm very upset. Very upset. All right, here we go. Here's a list of celebrities who have lost everything in the fire. Look at that. Let's start it out. The birthday girl. It's Julia Louis-Dreyfus's birthday. Let's see. Her home in the past. Oh, and there's their house. So look at that. Can we make it bigger? Oh, I was just talking about her house. How I said she doesn't have this big giant freaky estate, that she just lives in the neighborhood she's got neighbors and stuff like that. Well, there you go. There's your proof. JLD. She's a billionaire. She could live in a $100 million mansion. She probably lives in a $10 million house on a beautiful tree-lined street. All right. Let's see here. So JLD has lost a home. Milo Ventimiglia. Oh, he's the dude from Heroes. Let's see what this is all about.
To be. Oh, no. And today, along a fire-scarred stretch of Malibu, we met up with Milo Ventimiglia, a 47-year-old father-to-be. Oh, no. And today, one of the first residents here to get a look at the damage.
Oh, man. Toast.
Home after home destroyed. And Milo's house wasn't one of the lucky ones.
I know you were aware the house was gone. What's it like to then stand here?
Heavy? You know?
All right. I like him. He was from Heroes. I liked him. All right, Peter. Was his name Peter on Heroes? I'm not sure. All right, so we got Julia Louis-Dreyfus and we got Milo Ventimiglia. Who else lost a home in the fire? Here's a big one. Oh, Mel. Oh, Mel lost his house. Mad Max. A lot of people be like, thank God. No, man, he's Mad Max. Mel Gibson's fun. I want to drink with Mel Gibson. I know you people are like, he's just racist. I don't know any of that to be true. Here's what I know. He's a shit talker, and I kind of like him. I don't know what's true. I'd have to hang out with him and figure out what's true. I love Mel Gibson. You're not going to take me out of my 80s, 90s comfort zone. I'm sorry. Mel Gibson is cool, and Tom Hanks is not a child pornographer, okay? He's not. I'm going to like these two guys regardless of what you people tell me. Who's this? Who else lost a home in the fires? Barbara Corcoran. She's the Shark Tank lady. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about her. She makes her money screwing people on Shark Tank. All right, now this one I very much care about. You guys might be thinking, who's Harvey Guillen? Who the hell is Harvey Guillen? I don't know who Harvey Guillen is. Harvey Guillen is Guillermo from What We Do in the Shadows. And he's one of the most lovely people. Guillermo. Anybody who watches What We Do in the Shadows knows who Guillermo is. Guillermo is the vampire's familiar. He's their little slave. He does whatever they want. But he's also the smartest and most normal of all of these people. And he keeps them from getting into all kinds of trouble. Guillermo does not need this bullshit. Guillermo from What We Do in the Shadows lost his home, and we feel very, very poorly about that. Melissa Claire Egan has lost a home. Got no opinion on her. Ari Emanuel and Sarah Saudinger. He's like a super agent. Fuck that guy. Molly Baz. I have no idea who Molly Baz is. Is she somebody? Leanne Ford. Is it like went to a party on Saturday night, didn't get laid, I got in a fight. It ain't no big thing. No, that's Lena Ford. Sorry, I don't know who that person is. Brian Greenberg and Jamie Chung. I got no idea who these people are. Am I this irrelevant? These are celebrities who lost homes in the Palisades fire. Oh, fuck you. No. Of course, this one and Julie Louis-Dreyfus are the two that really hurt me. The great John C. Reilly, Southside. Love the guy. Oak Lawn, Illinois. John C. Reilly, Marist High School, Southside. I love John C. Reilly. Who doesn't love John C. Reilly? Lost his house. Look, that's his house. My God, look at this. Oh. Wait, what is that? Is that like a chair in a living room? What is that? What are we looking at? Oh, I have no idea what we're looking at. I just feel horrible. Horrible for John C. Reilly. All right. Let's see. Who else do we have? Oh, James Woods. Oh, the Skeeve Man. The Skeeve Man himself. James Woods did not lose his house. I don't know why he's in here. And that's why there's a community notes thing. And how do we know that James Woods didn't lose his house? Because James Woods himself is saying he didn't lose his house. So stop acting like we're doing him a disservice. The editor's note or the reader's, Mr. Woods believed his home was destroyed due to security footage until the 9th and the 10th when he went back to his home and it's still standing. All right, there you go. Good for him. That's good. That's good. Who's this now? This is another celebrity who was lost. Mandy Moore. Oh, unrecognizable. Doesn't even look like Mandy Moore to me. What is that? That is like a generic. Mandy Moore used to be absolutely beautiful, adorable, cute, girl next door, all that stuff. What did she do? Did she hit 35 and panic and go to that same plastic surgeon that every other hot chick goes to? So that now there's just like every hot chick kind of looks the same now. They all look like, and I'm sure it's probably this plastic surgeon's mother. He's making them all look like his mother, which is weird. This is not Mandy Moore. I don't know who this is. This is like some weird mashup plastic surgery filler. Her eyes are different. Her cheeks are different. Anyway, it says Mandy Moore. What? No! Mac and D? Mac and D. The great Rob McElhenney. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Of course, he's married to Dee from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. What's her name? She's so good. Caitlin Olsen. She's so great. Why are they showing Mac and not Caitlin Olsen? They live together with their kids. So here we go. So here are the people who I'm really upset for. I'm really upset that Julia Louis-Dreyfus lost her home. I'm really upset that John C. Reilly lost his home. And I'm really upset that Mac lost his home. This is not good. The rest of them, I don't care. I don't really care. Brad Paisley and Kimberly Williams Paisley. I'm not, okay, so here's the thing. I don't know anything about Brad Paisley. You see, like, I don't have any bad. Here's what's good for him. He's been around forever, and I don't have, like, any bad shit about him. So that means I'm probably just unfamiliar with him, and he's probably a good guy. Here's what I do know. I know his wife, Kimberly Williams, he only married her. Let me tell you something. This was the most eligible. Kimberly Williams was the most eligible bride that anyone could, like, you know, get to marry them back in like 1992 or 93 or whatever. She's the star of, you know, what was that movie? The Steve Martin movie, Father of the Bride. She was the bride. She was like the perfect bride. So of course, you know, you're going to want to marry her. You're like, yeah, I married the actual perfect bride from the movie. So I don't know anything about these two. Didn't even know they were together. Sorry they lost their house. I like her. She seems nice. Although I know nothing about her. So here's a mansion ripped to the McNally house in Altadena, California, a significant piece of history. Holy shit, is that a picture of it in flames? Yikes. Oh my God. They had meetings where they decided to hunt people in that room. Doesn't that look like a, let's get together and decide and plan our next people hunt? That's what it looks like. That kind of room. So what? This is the house. This house looks like ripped to the McNally house in Altadena. All right. So what's up with this house? Is this? I think I've seen this house. Is this the Garp house? That looks like the house from The World According to Garp. Anyway, I always thought that was a cool house. All right. So here we go. All right. More celebrities who have lost their homes in the fires. Colby Smulders and Taryn Killian. Although it says Taryn Killa here. We know it's Taryn Killian. Once again, no idea that these two were together. Taryn Killian had a cup of coffee as a regular on Saturday Night Live. He wasn't very good. He's super forgettable. And he kind of disappeared. Colby Smulders, of course, she is from How I Met Your Mother. She's got big sitcom money. She's a good get if you can land her. She's also a still relevant actress. She's still doing things and she's popping up and she still has a career. Him, not so much. Although I did recently see him in something and he was very good, although I don't remember what it was. So how good could he have been? I feel bad for him. I like Colby Smulders. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., How I Met Your Mother. She's good. This next one's a heartbreaker. No! You're not allowed! Why are you screwing with Eugene Levy? Who doesn't love Eugene Levy? Julia Louis-Dreyfus, John C. Reilly, Eugene Levy. Who else? There's somebody else. Anyway, those are the big three. I don't care. If I forget one, that's because you've been removed. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, John C. Reilly, and Eugene Levy. They're the ones I care the most about. Oh, what? Oh, Anthony Hopkins lost his house. Oh, my God. Yeah, I care about. He's an old man. Okay, I care about Anthony Hopkins, too. All right, I care. Because, again, this has a lot to do with him being an old man. You don't want to inconvenience an old man by, I don't know, burning his life down. That's just... Adam Brody and Leighton Meester. I don't give a shit about either of these people. What are they? Are these people from like The Hills or some MTV reality show? Who are these people? I don't know who these people are. Seriously, there is a collection of celebrities. Some are actual actors who have been on shows. But then there's also these people like, I don't know, the chick who married Jay Cutler, like Kristen Cavalier. What is she? Is she an actress or is she from a reality show? I don't know. I don't know who these people are. Leighton Meester and Adam Brody. I don't care. No! 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 John Goodman lost his house. John Goodman. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, John C. Reilly, Eugene Levy, and John Goodman lost their houses. If you can't muster an ounce of compassion for these guys, for at least one of these people, I don't want to know you. Denise Crosby. Yeah, I don't care about her. It's not a big deal. Denise Crosby is Bing Crosby's daughter. She was on Star Trek. I don't know. I think she might have wrote a book about how Bing Crosby was an asshole, how he was an abusive dad and he beat the snot out of her and all that. Duff Goldman. No clue. I don't know who this is. It says here he's a celebrity chef. Celebrity chef Duff Goldman. Brian Greenberg. No idea who Brian Greenberg is. Anybody know who Brian Greenberg is? Don't know. Oh, Billy Crystal? Billy Crystal. So we got Billy Crystal, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, John C. Reilly, Eugene Levy, and somebody else. Didn't we just add somebody? Wasn't there somebody just recently? Who was it? Somebody. There was somebody recently. John Goodman! Oh, my God, John Goodman! John Goodman lost his home. Julia Louis-Dreyfus lost her home. John C. Reilly lost his home. Billy Crystal lost his home. Yeah, well. Ricky Lake, blonde. I don't care if she lost her home. She's a blonde now and thin. Good for her. Ricky Lake lost her home. Spencer Pratt. Okay, now this I know. I know this dude. This dude is one of those reality show people who for some reason got real famous and stayed real famous, and I don't know anything about, I don't know. I do know him. I do know this guy because this is the guy married to a woman who I only know who she is because I find her absurdly hot. He's married to some chick named Heidi, right? And Heidi's really hot. So that's it. So I don't care. I don't care about these guys. You're famous for that? That's why you're famous. That's all I can draw upon why you're famous? No, he's famous because his wife's hot. That, Anna Faris. This one hurts. This one hurts too. This one hurts too. All right, we got to add Anna Faris. Everybody loves Anna Faris. You've never heard anyone in Hollywood say anything wrong with that. As a matter of fact, the very likable Chris Pratt, everybody loved Chris Pratt and Anna Faris. They were a couple. And they were the two most likable, lovable young scamps in Hollywood. And then Chris Pratt dumped her, right? Didn't he dump her for like a Schwarzenegger Kennedy? He like traded up for a Schwarzenegger Kennedy and dropped her. And everybody liked Anna Faris so much that that's when all the shit about Chris Pratt started to come out. Like, oh, he's this, he's that. Like people turned on Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy. They turned on him. And I'm like, you can't turn on Star-Lord. Anyway, I like Anna Faris, but you know what? I bet Chris Pratt hurt her. So this is probably good. Maybe this is the house they shared. I don't know. Burn it down. All the memories are gone. Anna Faris, Eugene Levy, John Goodman, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, John C. Reilly, and I'm missing somebody else, but we're adding Eugene Levy. Did I say that? Diane Warren. Look at Diane Warren. She's doing a very performative picture here. Diane Warren. She's posing on the beach in front of where her house used to be, I guess. I don't know what this is. Who is Diane Warren? Diane Warren's a songwriter. You don't know who Diane Warren is, but let's put it this way. If Diane Warren sang all the songs that she turned into number one hits for other people, she would be without question the number one recording artist, superstar, vocalist of all time. But she can't sing. So Diane Warren is, just Google her. Diane Warren songs and just look. Talk about prolific. This woman has written everything for like 20 years. Every hit song. Oh, that's a Diane Warren song. All right, so there you go. She lost everything. I don't care. She's got money like God. Oh, here's more of a before and after. Oh, I think I showed this one already. Yeah. All right, so here, let's look at this. This is someone driving down the Palisades. You know, I just recognized that it says Pacific Palisades before, because I'm watching that and I'm going, well, I gotta be honest, it actually looks beautiful still. I don't know, but that was before. Okay, that's before. All right. I mean, seriously, you guys, we are talking about the most, I mean, I know this could be an argument, but certainly one of the most beautiful places in America. I mean, just gorgeous. If you've ever been in the hills and the valleys there around Malibu and the canyons, oh my God, it's just gorgeous.
I am not the only traveler who is not repaid his debt. I've been searching for a trail to follow again.
All right, I don't need the music because the music's going to be the reason that this is probably not going to be. All right. So there you go. That's all we need to do on the fires. The fires are still raging out of control. They're expected to get. It's very concerning what's going to happen tomorrow and Wednesday. Tomorrow, there has been a 3-day break from the winds. The winds are what is causing the problem. The winds are blowing these dry brush fires. The wind's blowing them under rooftops, and they're blowing them all over, and one fire starts another fire a mile away. It's crazy. It is absolutely insane. But the winds are coming back tomorrow, and they're coming back Wednesday, and they're going to be upwards of 80-mile-per-hour gusts, which they expect. Here we go again. So this is not over, and we'll be monitoring it and all of that other good stuff. See, there was something else that yeah. Check this out. Hold on. Look at this. Check this out. I told you I've been watching coverage all weekend long. Whenever my kid's asleep or whatever, I'm staying up late and I'm watching this shit. This was captured by a helicopter. This is what's happening in the canyons when people are like, why can't they just put the fire out? This is what's taking out neighborhoods. Check this out. Never seen one before. I've only heard tell of tale. The fire tornado.
Look at that. Wow. Wow. Amazing. That's one of the, wow, that is a tornado.
Wow. See, this goes along with my whole thing about how I'll never live anywhere where there's a possibility that a bear is going to eat out of my garbage cans. I'm never going to live anywhere where I have to be careful walking the dog because there's crocodiles. I'm never going to live anywhere where this can happen, where there can be fire tornadoes.
Wow.
Jesus, look at that. It looks like the inside of a blast furnace. And then add like 80-mile-an-hour winds.
No, this is the biggest one I've ever seen.
All right, that is, Jesus, Mother Nature is an absolute bitch. Other celebrities, how about this? How about the great Dennis Quaid? Dennis Quaid got caught. I was watching this. I actually saw this happen live. This was Saturday night. No, maybe this was Friday night. I'm not entirely sure. Dennis Quaid was packing his car. His house was, about to be burned down. So local California, I think this is, it's NBC4. It's not KCAL. I've been jumping around. I'm very familiar with KCAL. I'm very familiar with KTLA. Anyway, this is Dennis Quaid, check this out. Dennis Quaid just frantically trying to pack his car.
It's nice to smile, and it's nice to smile, and it's nice to be able to watch Dennis Quaid try to do.
Okay, so that's Dennis Quaid back here trying to cram his daughter's dresser drawers into his Porsche. I don't know.
Do something smile, and it's nice to be able to watch Dennis Quaid try to do something that he's not going to be able to do, which is try to fit 2 hampers of his 17-year-old daughter's clothes into a Mercedes. But Mandeville is, they've lost power here. Their power line's down. There was an active firefight here.
They turned it off on purpose. They turned off the power.
What did Dennis Quaid say?
Dennis Quaid says they turned the power off on purpose because, they don't want the lines to cause another fire. They fall down.
Thanks for making me look bad. Okay. They turned the power lines off on purpose, sources say, residents say, and I think you want to go.
If everybody, if you know where your gas line is, and when you get evacuated, the quick release, turn off your gas before you leave.
And before you leave?
Before I leave,
would you like to say anything to our viewers at NBC4 that have been following?
I'm a big fan. I'm there with the Today Show every day. You got great weather. You got great weather, great news.
Great.
And big fan.
All right, Dennis Quaid. Even while he's frantically trying to evacuate his daughter's stuff from their home as it catches fire, he's still got a little time, make a little conversation, be a nice guy. That was weird though. There was like a weird moment there where I think the reporter thought he was getting conspiratorial, but he wasn't. Like the reporter said, so there's no power in this area. And Dennis Quaid chimed in, yeah, they turned it off on purpose. The way Dennis Quaid said that, yeah, they turned it off on purpose. I think the reporter thought, oh God, he's going QAnon, like that. But that's not how Dennis Quaid meant it. They did turn it off on purpose. And then I think Dennis Quaid even realized okay, I don't think he got that. I think he thought I was being weird, but no, when there's a fire, they come in and before they evacuate you, they cut the power to the house and the gas. And he was very conversational about it. But I thought that was a shitty response from that news reporter who just immediately went with, oh, some people are saying they cut off the power. Okay, crazy. And then he had to come forward and go, and no. When they evacuate you, they cut the power so that if the poles fall, there's not live wires in the street. I mean, it makes sense. So, anyway, there you go. Dennis Quaid out there doing his thing. Is that? Well, I don't want to. Okay, never mind. Somebody just tweeted that the death toll has gone up to 31. That's not. Don't quote me on that. That's just a dude on Twitter. So let's forget about that until that's made. 26, I think, is the number right now. Private fire protection. It's a thing that's happening here now. Private fire protection. How do we feel about this? There are a whole lot of super rich people who are utilizing the services of private fire. And, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I know emotionally when I hear that there are celebrities whose homes or rich people, not celebrities, but rich people whose homes probably won't burn the way a working class person's home is. And yeah, there are. I know you guys, people are like, there's no working. Oh yeah, there are. In every super rich neighborhood, dude, there is at least 2 or 3 smaller neighborhoods of poorer people who exist only to work for the rich people in the neighborhood. Trust me. There are the Hollywood Hills, the Sunset Fire. When the Sunset Fire was burning through the hills on Wednesday night, people are like, oh, it's just a bunch of rich celebrities. No, it's not. The Hollywood Hills are the only rent-controlled area of Los Angeles. It is filled with young artists without a pot to piss in, who the only pot they have burned. Okay, so I mean, there are a lot. Yes, we are seeing these fabulous mansions reduced to timbers, and we have compassion just for the overall horror of it. But There are a lot of working class people who are being absolutely housed by this. A lot of them. There are poor people who live near the beach. They do. I know it sounds crazy, but it's a weird sort of ecosystem that coexists there. Okay, so my point on that is private fire protection. Rich people. The Kardashians made this popular. A couple of years ago, their home in Calabasas was threatened by a wildfire. And so one of the episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians featured them hiring a private rich people fire service. Okay, so is there a fire? Here's my first thought on this. So there's a fire coming, and the fire department, the public fire department that protects us all equally, fire department is overwhelmed. Fire is coming, though, and the fire department is overwhelmed. Fire is coming, just so you know, it's coming. They're overwhelmed, and it's coming, and they're overwhelmed. So you're telling me that rich people are now they're spending their money and bringing in additional manpower to fight the fire. I'm okay with that. In an inferno, if rich people want to pay, it's not like the fire that, those private firemen will be battling isn't going to risk other people's homes. If the Kardashians' house burned down, but it's going to burn another person's next. It's not just going to stop. So if the Kardashians want to hire somebody to stop that fire in its track, I see that there is a reason that we shouldn't be completely opposed to this. Now, months from now, when the dust settles, there can be conversations, and we can be like, that's kind of not cool, though, that like rich people can always, like, we're taxpayers. We're supposed to be able to depend on our fire department. That's where we start having the conversations about, why wasn't the fire department fully funded? This is another thing that's going on. I don't want to get into the weeds in this, but the fire chief and Mayor Bass, they're going back and forth the last few days about the fire department not having the resources that it needs for a situation like this, and that the fire chief had supposedly been screaming from the hillsides, the now burning hillsides, that this was the case. I hate to say it, but in the eyes of history, this is just going to be a shrug. All of this shit that just burned down, and yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda, they could have done all of these things. It could have been a lot less, but that would have cost money, and they used that money for other things, other stupid things, trips to like Nairobi or wherever the fuck the mayor was when her city decided to burn itself to the ground. The mayor was like in some trip somewhere, some world trip. That kind of shit. They got money for that kind of shit, but they can't hire like 5 more firemen to work. I don't know. It's a mess. We don't pay for the thing. We don't prepay for things unless it's a con, right? And sometimes I guess we get hoodwinked into cons and we prepay for bullshit, but we don't. Something like fire, something like police, something like schools. We don't support these aspects of our society. Fire is always, we're going to decrease the fire budget this year. Really? Because, it's not like there were less fires this year than there were the year before. We're going to decrease the police budget again. We're going to take money from cops. Yeah. Schools, screw them schools. I mean, that's what we do. So that when something cataclysmic like what we're seeing in California occurs, we're not ready. We don't have any money for it. So with these reports that are coming about the reservoirs in Florida and California being empty because the water has been diverted for certain other things, this is why. When you're able to see a YouTube clip from a year ago where the fire battalion chiefs battling wildfires are talking about how they keep cutting our budget and we've got a massive fire that's right around the bend, a perfect storm fire. And you keep cutting our budget. From a year ago, it was a year ago, a fireman was like, there is a perfect storm coming and we are not ready to deal. A year ago, he was saying that. And you want to know why people get upset? Because you see people like the mayor of Los Angeles, in her campaign stuff, talking about giving money to trans teen education centers. We're going to divert money from... Is it important for trans teens to feel loved and accepted? Yeah. Is it as important as protecting metropolitan areas from wildfires? No. No. So that's what people are pissed off about. All right? God love California. But you know what? For all the shit that California takes, we're starting to see that maybe it's deserved. Maybe it is deserved. Maybe that bullshit, overly bureaucratic. Now what? Governor Newsom is going to be a hero because he's going to get rid of all the regulations. He's signing an executive order. California is the most overregulated state in the country. And Governor Newsom is now going to use this tragedy as an opportunity to catapult himself onto the national stage even greaterly by just being the hero of the cleanup. That's what he's going to do. He's going to try and ride this thing into the White House. So what's Gavin Newsom going to do? The great progressive-leaning Democrat? He's going to get rid of all the policies that he and his like have advocated for over the last few years, the policies that led to this kind of situation. He's going to get rid of all of them. He's going to allow for a quick rebuild. There's going to be no red tape. What does that say about you? It says that everything that you thought was wrong, and now you're going, oops, sorry, but now we'll do it your way. Now we'll do it the way that more conservative-minded people have been saying that we should do it, which is no regulations, and we'll see what happens there. And God forbid, not God forbid, we hope it is a success. We hope that the people of California get their lives back and everything gets brought back as quickly as possible, right? That's what we hope. But God forbid he then uses this as, look at how I saved California. Make me king. No. California is screwed. I've learned so much about how fucked up California is over the past 72 hours. This situation was inevitable. And everybody, and unfortunately for the Dems or the left, you're taking another one on the chin, man. Yeah, you thought the election in November was bad? This is even worse. Oz, your Emerald City, is burning to the ground almost exclusively based upon your political policies, politically driven policies concerning the environment and all of that. And I'm not saying it's as simple as that stupid shit Trump said a couple of years ago, just sweep the forest. Oh, shut up, you fucking moron. But there needs to be money for these kinds of things. And when you constantly siphon out of the budgets of real important shit that you take for granted, like fire prevention in schools and education, when you keep siphoning money out of that, at some point it's going to come to a head. And that's what we're seeing here in California. All right, let's see here. I'm going to wrap up here pretty soon. I know there's a lot of other stuff we can talk about. Oh God, I went so long today. We talked about the Mike McCarthy thing at the beginning of the show, and that got us like 30 minutes behind. Oh, how about this? Here's some good news for those of us here in Dallas. Actually, I don't know if this is good news. This is absolutely insane news. This is insane. I talked about this months ago when it was before the Dallas City Council when they were deciding whether or not to do it. Dallas police, as of today, as of now, I think it was as of yesterday, but as of now, Dallas police now are instructed to not arrest, but instead give citations to anyone caught possessing less than 4 ounces of weed. I can get pulled over by a cop with 4 ounces of weed, 4 bricks, 4 1-ounce bricks of weed on my passenger seat. I can get pulled over by a cop today in Dallas with like cartel level. That's a lot, man. That is obviously dealer amounts. You don't know, casual smoker has 4 ounces of weed. The entire rest of the world is like 2 ounces. And even 2 ounces is like, if you've got 2 ounces of weed, you're breaking that up and you're selling it to your friends. You're not going to smoke 2 ounces of weed. It should take you, 3 months to smoke 2 ounces of, 2 ounces. I don't know what it would take. I'm not going to do the math. My point is this: 4 ounces of weed or less is legal in Dallas. You can be a drug, you can be a weed dealer in Dallas. I can be a weed dealer. Ain't no weed deal. Ain't no weed dealers got more than 4 ounces in their house. Now, you're probably going, Pugs, why? Why would they have that comically large number? And by the way, the police fought this tooth and nail. The Dallas Police Department said, this is an absurd number. 4 ounces of weed on the person of a suspect tells police he's a pot dealer because nobody has 4 ounces of personal use. So what happened was a whole bunch of corrupt Dallas council people were probably given a whole lot of money by local drug dealers, and the drug dealers basically got some aldermen, or I don't even know what they're called here, to get this bill through at 4 ounces. Now, why is it 4 ounces? Because of a weed dealer, a street weed dealer gets busted. He's probably going to have or if they kick in an apartment, where a dude's dealing weed out of his apartment, 4 ounces. That's probably what a drug dealer has. And now, because this bill somehow passed through Dallas Council, now 4 ounces is legal, not illegal. Citation. You get a citation. Now, I have a question about this because I understand how this works, because a citation does not mean that it's over. A citation just means that if the cops are in your apartment and they find 4 ounces of weed, they're not going to put you in handcuffs and take you to jail. They're going to give you a citation. But what happens when you go to jail, when you go to court for that citation? Like, is the judge going to be like, no, I mean, you're still in possession of 4 ounces of weed, which is illegal at every level. So is this just to stop from clogging Lou Sterrett? Because is that what this is about? It's like, okay, you're a drug dealer. We don't need to put you in jail for the next 48 hours. We'll just give you the citation. You show up in court, and then we'll convict you for having 4 ounces of weed. I mean, is that what it is? Is this just to stop the glut of, first arrests and people caught with 1 ounce of weed, maybe they plea that down so that whole process can now be eliminated, without glutting the system. Dallas police now instructed to not arrest or give citations for marijuana possession of 4 ounces or less. The previous policy regarding possession of marijuana prompted officers to confiscate, but not cite nor arrest people who had less than 2 ounces of marijuana. So before, the old one was, they won't arrest you if you have less than 2 ounces or 2 ounces or less, right? But they'll also confiscate it. Yeah, this new one, because remember, this bill was obviously drafted by drug dealers. This was whoever the drug kingpin is of South Dallas, he got to the council person, gave him a whole bunch of money, and said, here's what we need in this new law so that we can now do gangbuster business and sell weed on street corners. They're not going to let him confiscate it. That was key. He's like, yeah, you know what? Not only are we not going to jail anymore, but they also can't confiscate it. Can we get that one through? So you want them to be cited for having being in possession of an illegal thing, but we're now going to let them keep it. All right. There you go. Where the fuck is the outrage over this? I mean, this is obvious corruption operating in broad daylight. Where is there no, I don't know. This is such a stupid thing. I mean, hey, I'm fine with it though. Whatever. 4 ounces. 4 ounces of weed. Apparently 4 ounces of weed for personal use, because that was always the reason. It was like, well, if you only got an ounce or something, that's fine, because that could be its personal use. Leave him alone. Now you're getting into his individual freedoms. He's not a menace to the community. He's not selling, right? He's only got 1 ounce. But that's why the number was 2. Because it was like, once you had more than 2 ounces of weed, it was kind of obvious to police that you were probably selling it, that you were breaking it down into quarters and eighths and selling it. But now it's 4 ounces legal in Dallas. 4 ounces. You could be a drug dealer to the level of a guy holding 4 ounces, and you can't even be arrested for that. All right, we'll see. We'll see. But I am interested to see how this is going to play out, because the wording is so weird. Like, the wording is like Dallas police are being told not that they shouldn't. Like, it seemed like it was up to the officer's discretion, like if he wanted to run you or not. I don't know. Okay, here's another thing. Let's do this. Justin Timberlake made news over the weekend. I wanted to show you guys this. I wanted to break this down. Justin Timberlake's had a rough year. Justin Timberlake got the DUI, right? And then he had a tour, and I guess the tour was okay, but the DUI was kind of a bad thing. I don't know. I guess maybe Justin Timberlake didn't have a bad. Justin Timberlake is Justin Timberlake. It's got to be pretty good being Justin Timberlake, which is why I find this distressing. This is video of Justin Timberlake taken, I don't know, it looks like Las Vegas maybe. But it's some fans. I want to play it for you, okay? And then I want to talk about it. We'll play it a couple of times. And I have a question for you regarding Justin Timberlake. Okay, first of all, I'll add this. This is just an observation. Justin Timberlake got a DUI. He was drunk driving. He was hanging out. Remember the story? He was alone in his house in Sag Harbor, which is the Hamptons in New York. He was alone. So he drove down to this like hotel in the town and he got shit-faced at the bar. And then the stories came out and they're like, yeah, he comes in from time to time. He got drinking alone. He's like all alone, getting shit-faced drunk. I mean, the stories weren't like he was an asshole. No, the stories were like, oh, he was really nice and he, hangs out with people. So that's good. But then we got this video. And the first thing that I thought, it's Justin Timberlake. He's driving a car. He's behind the wheel. The first thing I thought was he's drunk. Like, I thought he's drunk. He seems drunk. That seems like his response. Now, we don't have a lot to go on. It's just I'm just like, he's drunk. So I'm like, I think Justin Timberlake has a drinking problem. Ooh, JT got a drinking problem. Anyway, let's talk about this. These are some fans. They had an encounter with Justin Timberlake. You be the judge. You tell me what's going on here. Not is he drunk or not. That's not what this is. You just tell me what you think.
Justin Timberlake, we've been big time. Yeah, Justin Timberlake. Bro, roll out the window. Roll down the window.
You want something?
Let's race.
You want something? No.
Let's race.
You want something?
No. Let's race.
Stop. Get out of here.
All right, so there you go. Justin Timberlake, you want something? You want something? Get out of here, you fucking idiot. And that's when it cuts off. Okay, so Justin Timberlake, not really great with his fans in this encounter. It's kind of, this is upsetting to me because I always thought Justin Timberlake seemed like a really nice guy. Again, this exists in a vacuum. We don't have the context. We don't know if there was some road raging going on. All I can get from this as I watch it is that there are a couple of dorky fans geeking out because they're on the road with a megastar. And that is such a weird, random thing to have happen. Of course, your average person would get excited and maybe act a little dorky. So I don't understand why they are met. I mean, again, I don't understand the full context. I don't know what happened just before they started recording. Was there a back and forth? I don't know. But in this moment, Justin Timberlake's an asshole and he seems like he's drunk. It would not have been difficult for Justin Timberlake to be like, race? Yeah, I don't think so, guys. Hey, you guys have fun, all right? All right, be cool. Justin Timberlake's a public figure. That's what he's got to do. Not this combative bullshit like I'm better than you. I'm royalty. I am famous. How dare you speak to me? Let's watch it one more time. Watch it one more time. Justin Timberlake, you tell me. I also think he's drunk. You want something? You want something? I mean, I detect a little bit of a slur. You want something? And he's kind of got the mean drunk kind of. Yeah. You want to say that again? Like he's kind of got that going on.
Fucking Justin Timberlake, we've been big time. Yeah, Justin Timberlake.
So this is the fun part here because you're watching it and you're like, oh, the window's going to go down. We're never going to get to see Justin Timberlake. And then the window goes down and it's absolutely Justin Timberlake. It's like, yeah, pay off.
Bro, roll out the window. Roll down the window.
You want something?
Let's race.
All right. You want something? Justin Timberlake, you know you're famous. These are fans. They've discovered you, okay? All you got to do is go, hi, guys, and drive off or whatever. You don't have to be this hot. You don't have to choose this kind of tone.
Let's race.
You want something?
Let's race.
You want something?
Let's race.
All right, and so they're dorks. They don't know what to say. They didn't think they were going to be talking to Justin Timberlake. So this guy's like, let's race. This is what I'm about. I'm about racing. It's all I know. But you're Justin Timberlake. Let's race. He's not serious. I mean, I don't think it's like, come on, motherfucker, let's race for the title. It's not like that. He just doesn't know what to say to Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake would have had to have gone, you kidding me? I don't know if you saw the news. I got in trouble with a car a couple of months ago. You boys have fun. I'll see you. I'm JT. I just gave you son of a bitches a story you'll tell for the rest of your life. Well, they still got a story that they'll tell for the rest of the life. The only problem is that it's not good branding for JT. If JT had done it the other way, they'd be out there telling rule of 200. Every interaction you have with somebody, they will take that interaction and affect 200 people with it. It's the marketing rule of 200. Tell one person something. Let's say a lie. I tell one person a lie. That person will affect at least 2 other people with that lie. The rule of 200. All he had to do is be like, oh, man, you guys be good. You guys be cool. All right, I'm Justin Timberlake. But no, they caught Justin Timberlake in a mood.
Fucking Justin Timberlake, yeah, fool. We've been around big time. Yeah, fool. Hey, Justin Timberlake. Bro, roll out the window. Roll down the window.
You want something?
Let's race.
You want something?
He looks drunk. Even I don't know. I know we're not that close, but his eyes look glassy. He looks surly. He seems to, you want something? You want some, like,
Let's race.
You want something?
Let's race.
You want something?
He made it weird. Justin Timberlake made it weird. You know, those guys in the other car, they made it dorky, but he made it weird.
Let's race.
Fucking get out of here, you fuck. Okay, so that's their interaction with Justin Timberlake. Now, I do want to say this because I've kind of thought about this before. It's so the old saying goes, you never want to see Superman without his cape. And what that refers to is fandom. If you're a fan of somebody and you just absolutely love this person, then, you know, they're Superman to you. And Superman isn't always being Superman. Sometimes Superman takes off his cape. And when Superman takes off his cape, if that happens to be when you meet him, it might be disappointing. So you never want to meet Superman without his cape. And that's kind of something I've always thought about with celebrity interactions. Am I going to meet Superman, or am I going to meet some asshole who's going to be like, you know, a real disappointment? A perfect example of that is Tom Hanks. I always talk about, you know, I had the benefit early in my career to have a significant sit-down, one-on-one private conversation with Tom Hanks, an interview after Apollo 13. He had won the Best Actor. It was the Chicago Film Critics Award, and I was sent down there for my morning show as the film critic on the morning show. And I got to sit with Tom Hanks one-on-one all alone. And he was Superman, and he was wearing his cape, and he was everything that you would want 30 minutes alone with Tom Hanks to be. Funny, cool, didn't act superior. Justin Timberlake here, you know, he's not that. Here's what I caution, though. Celebrities are human beings. They're not these perfect things. They're not the characters they play. They're not whatever it is that we have projected onto them. They are not our expectations of them. They are real people. And sometimes real people have bad days. You know? I mean, you run into, give me a celebrity. You run into Mick Jagger, you know, at a mall. I don't know what he's doing at a mall, but you run into Mick Jagger at the mall, and maybe he just learned that his accountant ran off with $50 million. He might not want to talk to you. And in that moment, he might be like, yeah, I'm sorry about the phone. Laws of 200. You will now go and affect 200 people with, I met Mick Jagger and he is such an asshole. He is such a dick. But it's hard. It's hard to always be what the people who revere you expect you to be. So maybe that's the case. And I will give Justin Timberlake that. I will give him the out that we don't know. That clip exists in a vacuum to us. We have no context for it. We don't know what was going on in his wife. He might have been fighting with his wife. I don't know. Is there somebody else in the car? You ever been in a fight with a girlfriend and then somebody's like, we'll take your order now. You're like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? I mean, it's, are y'all ready to order? Get the, So I don't know. So I will give JT that, but he did seem drunk. He seemed a little bit, I don't know. Frank says, I'm a Justin Timberlake fan. He also has drugs in his system with his DUI. Drugs? What is 1960s? What's the matter with you? He had weed in his system, okay? That's legal in New York. So drugs. But yeah, it was a drug. And he probably also had sugar and caffeine in there too. Also drugs. So drugs. Drugs. Justin Timberlake's not a drunk. He's a drunk. I think he's a drunk. I think he's a classic drunk. Can I help you? Or what is he saying? What was he saying? Not a good moment. Not a good moment. Jeff Ballard says 4 ounces really isn't that much. I'd smoke more than in a month's time. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You're telling me? Really? You're 4 ounces. Jeff Ballard claims he could smoke 4 ounces of weed in a month. Okay, let's break that down. Most people will buy an eighth every week. So that would stand to reason that would be 1 ounce in 2 months. More smokers, like dudes who are high all the time, typically they're smoking about a quarter a week. So that's a 1/4 ounce a week. So that's an ounce every month. So at the end of the 2-month period, you'd be up to 2 ounces. No, I'm sorry, Jeff. Nobody's smoking. To smoke 4 ounces in a month, you would have to smoke an ounce a week. So that's what you're saying, Jeff. You're saying that there was a time in your life where you smoked an ounce a week and you still have both your lungs. What? Come on, man. Not to mention, what does an ounce of weed cost? How much are you spending on weed? An ounce. Okay, let's do that. So if an eighth is typically between 50 and 70, let's say 50. Let's go on the low end, 50. So an eighth is 50. So let's do a 1/4 is 100. So that's 400 for an ounce. Okay, you're smoking an ounce a week, Jeff. You're smoking $400 worth of weed every week. Unless you're growing it yourself. If that's your deal, then more power to you. That's crazy. That's crazy. Got to smoke 4 ounces in a week. No, you can't. That would kill you. That would kill you. I know you can't OD from weed, but that might do it. That might be. Let's see. What else do we have? Anything else we could talk about here? No, I don't want to do that story. All right. Quickly, some football notes. I always have time to talk a little bit of football. All right, so what are we looking at? Hold on. All right, let's look at what we got. All right. We got a game tonight, right? Tonight's game is Vikings and Lions. There you go. No. Tonight's game is Viking. What is tonight's game? All right, give me the playoffs here. Divisional round. Okay, here we go. We had I'm lost. I'm totally lost. What is the game tonight? Vikings-Rams is the game tonight. Thank you very much. Vikings-Rams. Commanders beat the Buccaneers. They move on. What else do we got? Eagles beat the Packers. Ha! I didn't know who to root for. I hate both the Packers and the Eagles. Bills just thumped the Broncos. I felt bad for the Broncos. I'm like, oh my God, that's no fun. Ravens beat the Steelers. Steelers are gone. Texans over the Charger. Say goodbye to Jim Harbaugh. All right, so next games here. We got the Texans and the Chiefs. All right, so that's fine. The Chiefs. And we got the Commanders and the Lions. All right, that's fine. That's the Lions. We've got the Eagles and whoever wins tonight between the Rams and the Vikings. And then we've got the Ravens and the Bills. That's the game next Sunday, 5:30 p.m. The Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. That's it. That's the game. I think that might be where the eventual Super Bowl champion is coming from. I know it's, everybody's loving. How about that? Wouldn't a Detroit Lions, Buffalo Bills Super Bowl be great? You got one team that's never been there and one team that has been there a lot and just can't seem to close the deal. Does Buffalo Bill, do they shit the bed again and the Lions get their first ever world title? I don't know. Could be. How about this one? How about the Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills? How about that? Huh? That's two teams that have shit the bed multiple times in Super Bowls. They've both been to the Super Bowl many times. Never won it. College football, that game is set. Texas lost. Yeah, that was a rough one. But it works out good for me because, as you all know, my 15-year-old son, he has two favorite college football teams, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and his Texas Longhorns. I think it's been made clear when it looked like his two teams were going to have to play each other. It's made clear that he leans towards the Longhorns, which is okay. His mama is a proud graduate, and he grew up or spent a good portion of his time in Austin. He goes to Longhorn games in Austin all the time. So, that's fine. Thankfully, or not thankfully, I shouldn't say, Texas lost. Texas lost to Ohio State, and now he can root with a clear conscience for his Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And he will experience what I, as a lifelong Notre Dame fan, have come to be all too familiar with, and that is he's gonna have his heart broken. He's gonna watch his team. He's gonna watch his Notre Dame Fighting Irish lose by 40 points on national TV in a national championship game. It's gonna be an absolute blowout. That's just what happens to us, so we're prepared for that. But at least it's not Texas Notre Dame. At least we're not going to have that family civil war. All right, what else do we have here? Vrabel is the new Patriots coach. That's good. That Vrabel, we clear Vrabel off the list of hot coaching contenders. He was scooped up right away by the team he won 3 Super Bowls with, the New England Patriots. That makes sense. Okay. Cowboys fired Mike McCarthy. We talked about that at the start of the show today. My 15-year-old son's nightmare scenario is that Mike McCarthy gets hired by the Bears and Dallas Cowboys hire Matt Nagy. So he hates both those coaches. And let's see, what else do we have here? I guess that's it, guys. I guess that's it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Gave you a little extra show. I got to go run now. I got to go do something. I got to go do some work. What is Adam saying? And his Adam Hernandez Florida Gators. Oh, Jeff's now saying what? You buy an ounce of weed for $70? What? He didn't. Jeff, you said something stupid. Just back off from it, okay? You said something stupid. We're like, that's not possible. He wasn't smoking an ounce of weed a week. We did the math. That's not possible. That's like fucking some Wilt Chamberlain level bullshit. But okay, you said it. Back off from it. We won't ever bring it up again. I promise you. You just said it. Now just, like that Homer Simpson meme where you just like back into the butt. Just do that. Do that. Don't be like, don't double fucking down, dude. Just what we got to get away from. And when people call us out on our bullshit, we just got to be like, yeah, that's fucking stupid. Moving on. Hey, let's make fun of Adam Rayno. That should have been the move. You should have just like shifted attention to somebody else. You never smoked 4 ounces of weed a day. Or whatever it was you claimed. It's nuts. Adam says, you said Mason has 2 teams. Oh yeah. You're saying he has 3 because my son, I don't know. There's some interest from Florida. They're sending him stuff all the time. But I have come on Christmas. I learned, Adam, my son does not actually want to go to Florida. He just knew he knows the schools I want him to be looking at and to take seriously should they come calling. And it's like the schools that all parents, I think, want their children to be wanted by. It's, Northwestern, UT, Notre Dame, Harvard, important, lofty schools. So I think he was like, hey, Florida, because he's getting stuff now a lot. Like it's not just, but Florida was one that came out and he's like, look, Dad, look, what do you think of Florida? I'm like, no, not. And by the way, all of this is just hope trafficking and wish trafficking, right? I mean, it's you might not go we should be so lucky that anybody wants him. That's all. That's, but over Christmas, man, he made me so proud. Over Christmas, he admitted. I said, so what's going on with Florida? I go, are we still talking about that? He's like, nah. I'm like, so give me your list of schools. So he gave me his list of schools, and I was so impressed by it. His list of schools that he wants to go to, colleges. By the way, I don't know how he better get us an academic scholarship or a football scholarship, whatever. Both would be great. He's got UT, Notre Dame, SMU, Stanford, and Northwestern. And I'm like, yeah, I love your choices. I love that there's not a stupid party school in there. There's not an Arizona State Sun Devils. It's I like it. I like his, it shows me that he's serious. He's like, and they all have decent football programs. I'm like, well, you said Northwestern. Still Big Ten. And I'm like, yeah, for now, yeah. By the time you graduate, might not be Big Ten anymore. Big Ten's getting really big, and they're going to start trimming the dead weight from the Big Ten. And Northwestern might just be that. Although they won't, because let's not kid ourselves. It's the Chicago media market, so Northwestern is not going to be cut from the Big Ten. Too much money in that media market. All right, what are we watching here? Aerial firefighters descend on LA amid challenging new wind conditions. Yeah, the wind's coming. It's gonna be rough the next couple of days. These we've got a whole new brand of badass here in this country. And also Canada, because it needs to be pointed out that some of these are Canadian pilots. Are you watching these? There's all these viral videos of these water planes refueling. Or not refueling, but refilling with water. It's like these big giant planes, and they come out of the mountains. Like you see them come out of the flaming mountains, and they belly skim the ocean there, right off Malibu right there. They belly skim the ocean, and then they take back up, and then they dump that. Those guys are badasses, man. How scary would that be? I mean, you're skimming the water in an air. I don't know. It just seems, to me, it seems very difficult. It's probably easy. Probably like, God, no, piece of cake. Those guys are badass. And the water droppers, man, you don't see many that miss, man. I've seen a lot of water drops on live TV. They're coming one after another. They don't miss. Those guys are good. So a shout out to Southern California's pilots, because those dudes are badasses. And the Canadian, something went viral where it was obviously a joke, but it was like some dude going, "This is American know-how right here," and he's like showing the plane, and it's obviously it's got a maple leaf on it. It's a Canadian forest fire fight. They know a lot about forest fires up in Canada. Okay, they got a lot of trees, so they sent those planes down here. And those planes are working on it. But those guys are really good. And the viral video that was Canadian. That's why it was funny. It's like, good old American. Now the Americans are doing it too. The helicopter pilots and all that stuff, all those dudes who are flying, who are constantly up in the air, covering this thing, giving us the most incredible views of this truly historic and devastating situation that's happening live in Southern California. Those guys, they're all heroes. Those people are all a hero. They're a fucking hero. Here's what they are. They're cool guys. They're cool guys. I don't know if they're heroes. They're cool guys, and they seem very confident in what it is that they do. Not so much. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow back here. Like, follow, subscribe. Every day at noon we do this. It's the Rant. We talk about the day's news. Adam says, Libby and I used to do an ounce a month. Yeah. Yeah, that's two people, and okay, I can understand that. That's a quarter. Yeah, that's fine. That's normal. That's normal. Let's see here.